All right, party people in the place to be, vandals, and people who wear ties on denim shirts. This is a brand new holiday special episode of Pink Buzz, one of a few that we're going to be doing. We will be taking the holiday off after the 2 weeks for Christmas and New Year. We will not be doing a show until after the New Year. We will be back and do our
Yeah. So
49th and 50th episodes of the Pink Buzz. So, howdy do.
yeah, so next week will be our last episode before the holiday break, which will be December 16th. And we'll be back with because it'll be the first Friday of the month. So when we come back, we'll be coming back with another music episode on January 6th.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna be doing soundtracks, which should be fun.
Soundtracks. Yeah.
We
So our
got Zod
monthly
Rider in the house.
Zod. So our monthly music episode will be themed, focused around soundtracks. So that'll be pretty fun. I already have a couple on my list that I know already that I'm gonna talk about. So, but tonight we're gonna be talking about some holiday specials that have been put out by some of the big two. Uh, what do we have on the docket? We have the Immortal Hulk, the King in Black, the one shot that came out. That was a holiday themed one shot special. Uh, we have which was called Black Christmas. That was pretty good. We're gonna have Moon Knight, Silent Night. That was another one shot put out by Marvel, written by Peter Milligan. We're going to talk about Lucifer number 20, had a little slight holiday theme to it. Um, then we're going to go through a kind of a read along for Frank Miller's Sin City Silent Night. We're going to go page by page, panel by panel, and we're going to go through the whole book, kind of do a rundown and on that. And then we're gonna hit you up with Klaus. I think a lot of you might have already read that. It's a great take on the Santa Claus mythos. It's written by Grant Morrison. Then we'll finish off with a movie rec for the holidays, and we'll be talking about The Ref. So we'll close out the show with a little movie recommendation that you guys could probably check out for the holidays.
Right, right. But before that, we got our check-in, and man, with some of the stuff that I read this week, and I think you did too, Joe. There was a lot of violence to furries in the comics that I read. How about the ones you read? Right?
Yeah, we have a few of the same. So there's two books that we'll be touching on that we both read. So we'll have two common books for our check-ins. So one was which one do you want to start with for the check-in?
Let's go ahead and start with Lovesick 2 because
Okay,
we kind of
love
already covered it a little bit.
yeah, Love Sick too. Yeah. That was man, it continues to impress. Uh, the story is evolving. You get a little more backstory on Domino, and because it goes back 3 years, I think it says 3 years before previous, something like that.
Yeah, back when her heart was still in it, when she was still really enjoying hanging people
Mm-hmm.
upside down in piggy masks and butchering them, to where now where she's kind of over it. She's not sure what she wants to do anymore. Like the typical problems you run into in this day and age.
Yeah, they reveal a little more. They expand the cast of dominatrixes. So they elaborate very slightly on that. They introduce a little more of the cast by their nicknames, or what do you call it? The names they use when they're in the red
Non
room.
non de plumes or
Yeah. So you get introduced to that. Yeah, they pull the curtain back a little more on the group that's out to try to get Domino. So you get to see a little more of that. They don't expand on it too much, but they pull the curtain back just a bit more to kind of see uh, the threat that is coming for Domino, the people that have it out for her, to give her just due. So it was really a great second issue, and really looking forward to the next one, because I think
yeah,
the next one's probably gonna, like, it's already pretty
really.
intense, but I think they're gonna crank it up even more on the next one.
Yeah, just by pacing issues, like, or just by thinking of how pacing goes, like, yeah, that's what my thought too. That it's really gonna hit gear. Well, it's not like these first two issues start out slow. I mean, like uh, the first 5 pages of each of these issues have just been completely just blood soaked and traumatic in a beautiful way. Like I really
Yeah,
love Miss Vecchio's art. It's
yeah, and like amazing job with the colors too. Like in the opening pages, uh, where you see
they
her
get that
walking,
grainy video look
walking,
too. I love it.
yeah, walking through the party, and they use that split, like the complementary. They put her hair green because often you'll put red, right, to a focal point. They'll put it in red, but seeing as how everything's like in red tones and pink tones, they give her the green hair. So then, like, it's a complementary color to the rest, so it really stands out. So that that green hair, it becomes a focal point of the story. So you zone right in on her, and it's pretty cool. It's great the way they do that. And then like that's the party where everyone's partying, so it's all pink tones. Then when they get to the red room, boom, switches to like the red. So now shit's getting real. So it's like the art is amazing in this, and it has these shifts in tones that are done with the color, and then it goes to a flashback, so you get more like the realistic part. So it goes back to more of a real, like I mean,
And we get
it's
some
definitely
furries, and then some
furries.
furries
Yeah,
get cut up. Yeah.
the furries get theirs. They hunt the furries. Yeah, they get theirs. Yeah, so yeah, and then it goes to her fantasy, the fantasy about getting off on the idea of being killed. So then you have the group that's revealed that they talk about a bit in the first, and they elaborate on here, so you get a view of them. They have like these neon masks, which is a pretty cool design. So like the I don't know if it's a blacklight mask or neon mask. Anyway, I've seen it in a few movies here or there, but it looks pretty cool.
I think it's got LED lights is how it works.
Possibly, yeah. I think that's what it might be, like an LED kind of string light in it that gives it the design and the outlook. But
Yeah.
man, uh, I don't know if it's a one in something, but that Danny cover, I know you're a
Oh
huge
God,
fan of
yeah.
Danny. Yeah,
I
like they
bet you
have the
Al's got
different.
one.
Yeah, they got all of them. Elle and Sergio are big fans of this book, and I think Sergio hunted down every single variant for this, whether it was a 1 in 50, 1 in 25. I think he got them all. I think he tracked them all down, and I think he sent a few to tracked a few down for Elle as well. So yeah, even Elle on House of Nerds, she said, yeah, she doesn't own much original art, but if she could get her hands on that Danny, she would probably spend a pretty penny on trying to get her hands on that Danny cover, the
Oh
original.
yeah. I mean, who
Yeah,
wouldn't? The thing is
yeah.
glorious. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of variants, but I don't know, I'd maybe pay up to $20 for that, but I bet you it's way more than that. So like there's no way I'd
Uh,
probably ever
well,
own
it's
one
because
with my
there's
cheap ass.
there's three different colors. So based on the color, I think one is just a regular variant, maybe, or a 1 in 10. Another color is a 1 in 25, and the other color is a 1 in 50, I believe. So they did three different colored variants of the same drawing, right? They put different colored backgrounds and stuff. So
Right.
yeah, I think that's how that one worked. Yeah. So great second issue. This book does not disappoint. So go pick it up. Lovesick issue 2 just came out
I mean, I like that
last week.
I like
Yeah.
that it has a really good sense of humor to it too. I mean, it's not a jokey book, but there is some really good like darkly tinged humor
Hmm.
all throughout it.
Hmm.
And if you're a fan of that type of stuff, if you like Miike movies like me and Joe do, like this will totally be like a hit for you.
Hmm.
It's generally upsetting for me personally, but I still really am entertained and enjoy it, like in the way that I am by like Clive Barker's work, because
Yeah.
the subject matter of the book I actually do personally find shocking because I'm a very vanilla type
But
person
it,
in those senses, and it
yeah,
does affect me in a
shocking.
sense, but it's really good at the same
Yeah,
time.
like it's so absurd that it's kind of funny.
Yeah, like
Like
Ichi the
it's
Killer was, you know
yeah,
what I
it's
mean?
so like yeah, it's so extreme, so absurd that you have to kind of laugh at it, right? It's like violent to the point of absurdity. So it's just it makes it kind of funny. I don't know if people understand what I'm trying to say, but
Well, I mean,
yeah.
and also like I find it utterly graphic with the sexual content as well, even though you don't ever see really any skin. I mean, they are dressed scantily, and there
Hmm.
are some compromising um, angles shown. It never actually. I don't think that there's actually any nudity in the book, is there? Like,
Is there any? If any,
I
there'd
don't
be
think there is really any,
it would be male nudity if there is any,
but oh, you're right.
because
In the first
all the
issue, there
victims,
was. Yeah.
yeah, because all the victims so far have all been men, right? There haven't been any women so far, like
But,
victims or whatever that you call them, the people who, uh,
subs, I guess, because like
yeah,
they're into it, so they're submissives.
okay, so like there is, but it's so hard to see the way they draw it. It's
Yeah.
you can't really see it. So,
But at the same time, it's one of the more explicit books I've ever read. Like I would honestly put it almost on the same level as an Innis book in
but
that regard.
I think it's well done because you know what the subject matter is. You know what they're talking about. Do you really have to be held by the hand? Do you really have to have, like your mind can complete the idea, right? Like you don't have to see.
Well, and it's also like a really good visualization of all the weird, like creepypasta stories you always hear about the dark web. Those videos, like the videos don't actually exist, but like they kind of created a fictitious version to actually kind of
See,
give
like
you a.
where the pig is, the bar comes on the side of him, so you don't really you see the ball sack, but not the
Yeah, it's
shaft.
tastefully censored.
Yeah, yeah, that's
She
it.
tastefully
Yeah,
censored her own stuff, even at. But saying that's kind of funny because, like we just got done saying, it's a very shocking, very
yeah.
effective comic for what it's trying to do. Like it really accomplishes it.
And it's cool. In the back matter, she talks about the research she did for the book and kind of some of the things that she referenced for this book and stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's worth reading the back, like her afterwards in it. Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out because she elaborates a little bit on how she came up with some of the ideas and the terminology. So yeah, pretty good. All
Yeah,
right.
I'm really loving it. And next up, yeah, man, we got some full on furry horror, cannibal horror. Like, man, this book was pretty
Yeah,
effective as well. We got Plush by uh
plush.
um Doug Wagner, the
Yeah,
insane
yeah.
creator
Wagner.
of
Uh,
vinyl
pl-
and of
Plastic.
plastic. Yeah,
Yeah,
one of
the
the
same
show's
creative too.
favorites, horror creators.
Yeah, plastic is great. Vinyl. I still have to finish reading that. I think I read the first three, so and then life got in the way. That's about.
In a weird,
I
I
was.
think he's made a trilogy. Like they don't connect, but in a weird way they do because they're all thematic
Hmm.
in some type of material, which is
Yeah,
pretty cool. And
yeah,
they're all really off kilter, insane horror stories.
yeah. And this first issue is not going to reveal anything to you.
No,
All it.
it's all there just to hit you in the face with the furry
Yeah,
sledgehammer.
yeah. That's it. You get. He goes to some weird ass furry party that his friends. You see his friends super into furries. They establish the characters and their relation to one another, but the overall plot and main story of what's happening in the threat, they do not really elaborate on it too much. They show you who they are, but you have no clue what it's about yet or anything. You know all the players and kind of their relation to one another. So I think next issue they're going to establish kind of the threat and what that threat is and where it's coming from. But the first one's mainly just to establish the characters' relations to one another. Because basically the main character was dating the sheriff's daughter, who cheats on her and gets pregnant with another dude, and then the sheriff has power and he wants to force this kid to marry his daughter because she's a sweet angel and what she wants she gets, right? So he kind of threatens him, and yeah, then his buddy trying to tell him like, don't do it, man, it's a mistake, you need to get your mind off it. So then he invites him to a furry party because his best friend's into furry shit, like. And he just so happens his friend likes the fox. He goes with the fox look.
What
Yeah,
does the fox say?
yeah. And then come on, dude, you got to come to the party with me. He's like, I don't have a costume. Oh, it just so happens I have an extra costume in the closet. So he goes in the closet and gets him some kind of, I don't know if it's what kind of bird is that? It's got like a little thing on the edge. I don't know, some
I
green.
think it's a quail.
The
I'm
quail?
not.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Ooh, we got Aaron in the house. What's going on, Mr. Reese?
Yeah.
Good to see you,
So,
buddy.
so yeah, so it's a really weird, super weird book.
It hooks you. Like I'm gonna say,
Yep.
like he does what he needs to in a first issue to really get you invested without telling you anything. I
Yeah.
mean, here, flash the cannibal scene really fast, man. Like,
Yeah, that's a double splash, which is really cool. But there's two people that are obviously furries, right? Or pretending to be furries. Then there's that third one where they never show their face, so you're not sure what the fuck that one is, right?
if it,
The round-headed one.
yeah, the one that's on the cover.
Yeah, exactly. The one that's right on the front of the cover there. That one you never actually see their face. The two others you see their face, so you kind of know they're people. So is the other one like a demonic presence? Like you don't know. That's where the ominous kind of character comes in, where you're not sure if it's a person underneath there, or if it's something else, a creature. It's hard to say. Mm.
Wait,
So
great first issue, and yeah, Doug Wagner. He's always a blast, especially with his weird image horror books.
and Daniel Hilliard once again, like he like he's great with his facial expressions and a lot of
Yeah,
close-ups. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. The colorist on that is Rico Renzi. The editor is Ed Duckshire. Hey, we have another. He's in one of the other books we're going to be talking
yeah.
about as well. So yeah, very cool. Very cool stuff. Yeah, man, I enjoyed it. It's definitely a weird. I'm not too familiar with furry culture, aside from a few odd things I've learned in the past since the pandemic started, like like uh like how they keep their tails on when they have sex. I learned what how they do that. They sell butt plugs with tails connected to them, so when they have sex, they can keep their tails on. Yeah, so I learned that over the pandemic. Yeah. So there's a little furry tidbit for you for people who didn't know. Like they have furry butt plugs.
Good to know. I wasn't even that invested in it. I just I don't know. Like
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it just yeah, it's just one of them things that was before after my time. You know what I mean? Like I hate to sound like such an old head, but
Yeah.
like
I saw some pictures of a girl that had a foxtail, but she didn't have any underwear. So I was like, how's she holding her fucking tail? And then I found out, and like I kept I
kept
kept
scrolling.
going, and yeah, I kept scrolling, and I was like, oh, you could buy. I don't know if you could buy it or whatever, but they kind of showed what it was. I was like, oh, okay, butt plug with a foxtail on the end. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, and if Fred hadn't kept reposting that GIF of the furry party there in the kitchen, you
Yeah,
know,
our buddy
I
Fred
think
isn't
I
really a
think
furry, but we like to call him one.
yeah. So I think because of that GIF came up on my feed quite a few times. The algorithm started showing up like furry shit for me. So yeah, so I have Fred to thank for that.
But yeah, this issue, man, so much fun. I cannot recommend Plush #1 enough. It's good to see Image really picking back up towards the end and beginning of this year. Man, the past couple of weeks been really good for new little
Mm-hmm.
series is popping off for them.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're gonna dive really deep into the furry culture, or if that's just like something he used just to be like
I think
oddball,
he
kind of give it a
might,
weird. Yeah,
because
it'll be interesting. We'll see if he
I mean, you
dives
saw
into the
how
furry
far he
culture.
took the blow up doll in plastic. So like, I'm
Yeah,
just thinking he'll go all the way. I think.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting for sure. Yeah. So, what else do you have for your check-in? Those were the two
Um,
common ones we had.
For me, I am fashionably late to this. I am very late, but
Oh,
I got and read The Mini Deaths of Layla Starr by Ram V, and with art by, man, I can't read it right now. It's too small. But it is such a beautiful book. Like, it is so good. I'm a trade reader. I trade weight for most stuff, and I almost feel like I kicked myself in the butt with this one because I've known Rom's had the goods ever since These Savage Shores. I mean, he really blew me away with that. But this book really kind of showed me that he's also kind of a classic style talent. This book really kind of took me back to, the Neil Gaiman Vertigo days. This really hit on the same type of level as something like Death, the High Cost of Living, or like one of the Sandman graphic novels. It's like that good. Um, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows about the book already, what it's about, how the goddess of death gets put on notice, and she gets sent down into a human body, and she's trying to kill the person that made death obsolete. So, and she fails several times in kind of cute, kind of clever ways. It's just a really, really neat book, very beautifully illustrated and rendered, but just the humanity of it, the way that Ram can just get you in your emotions on that Jeff Lemire level, man. Like, he is a supreme talent, and we're very lucky to have him in this day and age, man.
that
And
was that released by Boom?
yeah, it's a boom book.
Yeah, it's the Boom book.
And we're lucky because he's also one of these guys that can actually write a damn good big two book as well. He's not just one of them guys that shows up and does really good for his indie books,
Yeah.
like some of the other
Uh,
people.
the artist on that is Philippe Andrade.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's the artist on that. Yeah.
and very
Yeah.
beautiful colors in it as well. I mean, boom books usually have lovely colors anyways, but this is probably one of the prettiest ones I've ever seen. Like, it just shimmers. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, and the hardcover's coming out soon. So if you guys haven't read it yet, you'll be able to check that out. You can pick up the hardcover, which should be out in not too long. So
And
yeah,
the regular trades out too, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
think I paid $12.99 for it, so that's really good. It's a 7 issuer, so it's a pretty big trade. Not one of them little scrawny DC or Marvel ones. And another thing, this one you've been telling me to read forever, and I
Oh,
finally got
Daisy. Yeah.
around to it. Our buddy Colin Lorimer's wonderful religious horror parable. Um, I didn't really know what this book was going into it. I just knew it was Lorimer's new kind of folky
Hmm.
horror thing. But I really love anything that has to do with the Nephilim and the Book of Enoch and that weird side of biblical folklore. And I think he
Hmm.
really made a wonderful, spooky little book with this, the same as he did with the Celtic horror and the Hunt. Like, Lorimer is just one of these guys that he takes like a really cool niche historical topic and just really plays with it in a way that makes it almost terrifying. I mean, he's really really good at you know horror, in my opinion, and kind of an underrated guy too. I don't hear too many people talking about his work, but I think it's because he works so sporadically. Like, I haven't seen
Yeah.
him.
Well, he does like after he completed Daisy, he was doing storyboards for a movie.
Okay, yeah, that's another thing that I saw that he does. He
Hmm.
works on TV shows and movies a lot, doing
Yeah.
designs. And
Yeah.
I think they just said that he landed a new one at Disney or something. He's drawn something for,
Yeah.
was it a
So
Star Wars? I think something like that. It
it
said at
could
the
be.
back of
Yeah.
the book.
Hmm. So yeah, he does a lot of storyboarding for pretty big productions. So he keeps himself busy. But that Daisy was really good. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, totally neat. I think it would make a really kind of cool like Netflix original movie or something like that. Like, they should really get on that because last I heard, they still have a pretty good contract with Dark Horse with being able to use
Um,
their properties. So
yeah, I would even go. I'd do a series because there's
you
so
stretch it out a
much.
little bit. Yeah, because the
Yeah,
book
because you
did
could
seem a little
explore.
rushed.
Yeah,
You could.
you could you could really explore that the folklore and really dive deep into it. There'd be a lot of interesting stories you could tell. Mm.
Yeah, and yeah, it's damn good. And then aside from that, like I'm just gonna cover that I just recently watched. Well, right before the show, I got finished watching the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, just so I could plug it on this holiday special episode. And I thought it was really cute. I thought it was good. It wasn't nowhere near as good as Werewolf by Night, but
Yeah.
I had a lot of laughs for it. It was it was a good holiday episode. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it reminded me more of than like an attachment to a movie. Is actually a TV show episode, but with like a high budget. Um,
Hmm.
they nailed it. I thought it was great. I had a lot of fun. It was really funny watching Drax flip over a cop car at a Christmas special. You're just like, yeah. I had a blast with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So that wraps your check in.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I have one other comic I read this week from I picked up a couple weeks ago. Is actually I'll take it out because the reflection of my light kind of
Giving it a
makes it hard.
glare.
Yeah. The Nobody's Girls. This is by Sumerian. Uh, it's the stories of a guy who buys a used porn in a used section, a previously viewed video cassette, and he slaps it into his VCR. And shortly into it, there's like a cut scene where I don't know if it's a snuff film or a girl that's kidnapped being tortured or whatever in the middle of this movie, and he's like taken aback and he wants to find out what the fuck's going on. So he goes back to the video store, and it's just him trying to figure out what this is. And the people at the video store make fun of him and say it's just a prank, like it's fake, it's not real. And then he has a little neighbor, a young girl that went to school with this girl that's in the video called Lupe. And for some reason, I can't remember, she was in his apartment, like sneaking around, and she saw that footage on, and then she jumps out the window and sneaks out, and then she comes back around and says she's going to help him. She drops off the yearbook on his doorstep so he could figure out who the girl was, and then she confronts him and be like, I know what you're doing, I know, you know. So it kind of has this weird, I got like this weird kind of deranged, like fucking, it's almost like Ghost World, where there's this like
Yeah,
young, almost
that's what I was
teenage
gonna.
girl. It gives off that vibe, but the context is so much more fucked up and weird. But it definitely
It's kind of like
follows a
eight
lot of the beat.
millimeter, kind of the
Yeah,
movie 8 millimeter.
meets Ghost World. You know, it's like
Well,
if you mix those two movies together.
Well,
You
Daniel
know,
Clowes, the guy that did Ghost World, did a book called Like a Velvet Glove Cast in Iron, which is about a guy who goes to a porn theater and watches a weird fetish film and sees his ex-wife who ran away in it. So like he tries. So like it sounds like whoever did this really really likes their Daniel Clowes and kind of mixed
yeah,
Ghost
it
World with
does.
Like a Velvet Glove.
Yeah, it does. It definitely has Klaus vibes big time. Like even the art, maybe not quite like him, but it's a black and white book. You
Yeah,
know,
it
it
looks a little
has,
more like Charles Burns art, at least from the cover.
yeah, it's got, you know, it's definitely got that indie comics kind of vibe
Yeah,
to it.
going for that late '80s Fantagraphics look.
Yeah, you know, like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
you
straight up
know,
Charles Burns looking art right there, especially with that the big panel of the dude with the glasses.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it was really good. A good first issue. It'll be interesting to see. They cover quite a bit of ground in the first issue. Like, they're kind of,
Well, it's a
uh,
pretty big first issue. Like it's double size or
no, I think it's just a regular,
okay.
is it page numbered? No,
It
but,
looks a little thick. My bad.
no, just a normal,
Okay.
maybe, okay, maybe it's not 28, maybe it's not a 24 pager, it's maybe a 32.
Hello.
And it's, yeah, you can't hear me?
You froze for a second.
Oh,
My
okay.
bad.
Sorry. And it's got that weird size, kind of like
Heavy
Heavy
metal
Metal
drummer.
Drummer. Yeah, it's the same company, so I don't know if that's like something they're going for to stand out, like the sizing
Give it
of it.
that
It's a
zine
little
look.
different. Yeah, exactly. It was good. I really enjoyed it. And it's funny you mentioned zine because the next book in my checkout is a straight up zine. This
From
is
beneath.
yeah, From Beneath by Brian Beaver. Found this guy through Adrian. Uh, he posted something about it, and I thought it looked pretty cool. And this dude, man, he it's a straight up zine. Like I think he
Yeah.
printed it himself from a Xerox machine, put it together himself. You know, like straight up black and like high contrast. You know, it's black and white. There's no gray tones. You know, it's straight up zine. He put it together himself. $5
It's
mailed.
got some great art in it too for a zine. Like,
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like that's the back of the cover. This guy's actually in a band as well, so he does a lot of like. I saw some pictures of his shed in the back or his garage in his backyard that he he that he jams in, and he's got all these toys hanging, like all fucked up toys and shit, all this decked out in his shed there. It's kind of it's pretty cool. He's a pretty creative dude. So yeah, man, I was like, oh, like a cool zine, $5. I mean, I live in Canada and he lives in Georgia, West Virginia, something like that. Anyway, so he probably it probably cost him money to send it to me because yeah, $5 to Canada doesn't get you
wow, it was $5 flat.
flat.
He,
Yeah. I was like, I live in
wow.
Canada. Do you want me to give you more? He's like, nah, just $5, man. $5. So yeah. If you want to find him on Instagram, you can find him under that number there. His Instagram handle is the 135E
One?
135ET something or other. Anyway, that's his handle on Instagram. And you can hit him up in the DMs if you want a copy of this. He mails them out for $5 and he's got some other stuff
Damn.
on. He's
That's
got
that
some other
is
stuff on there. Yeah, I mean, this is straight up like this is how indie comics started, man.
yeah, that's like
This is it. Like the zine. This is how
that's
independent publishing started. Like people just making these and selling them for $1, right? This is what people used to do to get a little bit of attraction, right? And as people start buying them, like, oh, that's pretty cool. Do you have any more? And you just go and fucking Xerox some more and staple them together and keep selling them for $1. And that's the way it used to be done. So it's pretty cool.
hell
Yeah, and
yeah.
it's a wordless comic, right? There's no dialogue. It's all just. So that's going to be another theme for tonight. We're going to have a few
Yeah. There's
few wordless comics tonight. So yeah,
which I'm a huge fan of. I mean,
yeah,
God bless Mobius, aka Jean Girard, when he did his beautiful Arzak graphic novel and really kind of paved the way for the wordless graphic novel and comic book. Because man, I really do enjoy them, especially when they're really well done. Like a couple of the ones we're going to talk about later, and probably this one that Joey has, but I haven't checked it out. But it looks glorious, like my type of punk rock little zine.
mm, mm. Yeah. So and after that, oh, Serge is in the house. How's it going, Serge? And we started watching because I subscribed to what is it? What's the movie we wanted to watch? And I subscribed to Paramount. Oh, Smile. With the Paramount subscription, we could watch Smile. So we watched Smile,
Was it
and
good?
yeah, it's not bad. Not as good as
I hear mixed
Barbarian.
things, but so it is
Not as
okay.
good as yeah, it's not bad. It's decent. Well, I don't know. I was kind of tweeting while I was watching it, and
Also, it's
I
that
don't know,
that kind of good.
a lot of broken glass in it. So yeah, she drops a few glasses. She goes through a few glass tabletops. You know, so yeah. Um, so then we saw that Evil was on there, and that's a show that was on network but got dropped by the networks after one season. I think Paramount. I think it might have gotten picked up by Peachtree in the States, and then Paramount started their own streaming, so now it's on Paramount. And I think there's 3 full seasons. Maybe they're in the 4th season now, which I was surprised.
Wow. So
And
there's a lot of that to watch.
Pat really enjoyed it when it was on network. So when it disappeared, we're like, oh, that's a shame. But then, uh, who was it? Who was like, oh, that's on. Anyway, someone was talking about it, and I didn't realize it was still on, and I saw it was on Paramount. So we started watching that. We're in the 2nd season, maybe halfway through the 2nd season. It's not bad. It's pretty good. It's about the church gets a group of 3 people to go investigate claims of demonic possession or things like that before they send someone for an exorcist. So it's you got a psychologist, the guy who plays Luke Cage. He plays like the guy in training to become a priest. He's like the head of the team. Then you got the tech guy. So he tries to debunk things from a more uh,
Science level.
science level, like, oh, this noise is from that. So he's got all these gadgets to try to explain like what would be like paranormal events, you know. So you have the three together to kind of balance each other out and contradict each other to come to uh, a conclusion on their investigations. So it's pretty good. The there's a few people they cast in it that are really good, and yeah, it's a fun show. It's if you're into that kind of stuff, you'll probably enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need something like that to watch since Supernatural ended a couple years ago now, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, they do some CG effects that are can be a little cheesy in it at times, but in general, it's pretty good. Like the intros for the second season are pretty cool. It's about a book, and they open it, and it's those, what do you call them? The flip books, like
Oh, the pop-up books?
pop-up books, and like, and that's how they introduce each episode in the second season, and that's pretty cool. I like those. That I like the way they introduce the stories in the second season. It's pretty fun.
That is
Yeah,
rad.
yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's a fun show. Mm.
Hell yeah. So is that it for you, Joey?
Yep, that's my check-in.
All right. So we're going to start with our recommendations for our favorite holiday special comics from series that we've read. So most of these are pretty old. Like it's been a while since I checked out some newer ongoing series that would have a Christmas special, but these are by far some of the ones that really stuck out to me over the years. I mean, some of these are
Mhm.
kind of old, but I'm going to go ahead and start us off with
Yep.
Moon Knight, Silent Night, written by my favorite Pete Milligan, with art by oh man,
Lawrence Campbell.
Lawrence Campbell, and it's pretty good noir art. It kind of reminds me of Michael Lark's art, is what it really
Hmm.
kind of reminds me of.
Hmm.
So if you kind of like that, not quite Sean Phillipsy, but like still like on that level of noir art, that's what this book looks like. And it starts out with these two crooks robbing a department store, and they shoot the Santa Claus on their way out.
Yeah,
And
because I
it,
guess he owes money to their boss, or he has some kind of. They're like loan shark type thing,
yeah, I
thugs,
think he
and
has a
horses.
gambling debt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like the guy's like, "Oh, we're only supposed to rough him up," and they like, and the other guy's like, you know, he wasn't gonna be able to pay anyway, so we just did what we were gonna eventually end up having to do anyway, and then they leave, and yeah, yeah.
And and while they're escaping, Moon Knight is up on and I got to say, this is during the Houston revival of Moon Knight. So this is him at his most violent. This is when he would catch people and carve crescent moons into their foreheads and stuff. I mean,
Hmm.
this was like the really savage, really brutal era of Moon Knight. So he's up on this ledge and he's being taunted by the ghost of Kushun, and he's basically
Hmm.
telling them, "You're gonna let these guys get away with killing Santa while dressed as an elf." So he's like this weird kind
Elvin,
of
yeah,
goblin
with
creature.
the ears with the
Yeah,
hat, yeah,
with the elf ears and hats. So it's kind of cute and stuff, but at the same time, he's egging Moon Knight on at his most violent to go get these guys. So he
yeah,
does, and like we get this really kind of cool chase. He catches one guy, and then
yeah.
he finally gets up to the second guy. But in the meantime, you're getting this kind of farcical romantic tale of Moon Knight's girlfriend as
Hmm.
she is setting up for this date that they're supposed to be having this fine Christmas evening, and her wondering how it's going to be, and if they're going to ever be able to do the thing with the kids and all that heartfelt stuff. And she gets her pretty dress on and she's cooking, and Mark Spector, he ends up showing up late and covered in blood, and they basically just end up doing it and her kicking him out directly after.
Yeah,
And
they skip supper and go straight to the deed.
go straight to the deed, and then she straight makes him bounce right afterwards, just telling him like, "Mark, we both know that this whole thing was a joke, anyways. Just go." And that's why I like Moon Knight so much. He's such a tragic hero, and is such a tortured person. Like, and this was one of the books that really kind of hammered that in. I mean, Houston did a great job in the mainline series, but when this holiday special came out, I think it was in between the second and third arc. Like, it really just hammered home just
Yeah,
just how violent and fractured this man is.
and it's got like a lot of snow scenes in it. I love those kind of scenes. So yeah, the art's really good, and like even like what you said with the Khonshu's like dressed as an elf, and he even makes like a little comment like, "Oh, you look ridiculous," you know.
And
Like,
it's like,
they even
I'm
touch on
your
the humor.
imagination. Yeah, I'm your hallucination, dude. You're the one that's making me look like
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
And then he
exactly. Yeah,
punches the wall, and he's just like, "Hey, dude, just calm down, okay? I didn't know you
yeah,
were that
and
pissed."
but at that point, he looks like Santa. At that point, he kind of
Yeah, that's
changes.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, he kind of
he
morphs
starts
into
off. Yeah, he starts as an elf and he ends up like in full Santa attire. Mm, mm, yeah, so yeah, great art and yeah, like people that dig, let's say Aaron Campbell. Like it's got a little bit of Aaron Campbell. It's got a little bit of the Philadelphia dude Sean Alexander.
yeah, it's got almost a photorealistic look to it, but
Yeah, yeah,
not
dark, like
quite.
a
Yeah,
very inky wash, like quick, like brush strokes, heavy blacks.
yeah,
Like
really thick black lines.
yeah, people who dig that kind of style, and it fit the story perfectly, right? And really good. And the colorist on that was Lou Luthridge.
Yeah, Lee
Uh,
Lothridge is always good.
yeah, and then you had Russ Wooton on letters, who you often see on a lot of books, and Clayton Crane did the cover for that one. He
Yeah,
does some great covers, man. Yeah,
yeah, man. I like his interior art too.
yeah, that Ghost Rider he did was so damn good with
And
Garth Ennis. Yeah.
or when he did X Force with Yost and Kyle,
Okay.
the really
Yeah.
bloody X Force run.
Yeah. He did that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some talent, that Clayton Crane. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. So what's up next, man? Which one we can talk
Next
about
one
next?
is your first pick of the night.
The Hulk.
Yeah, man.
Okay, that's Hulk. It was a one shot tie in to the King in Black. And this is straight up like a holiday themed issue called Black Christmas, written by Al Ewing, drawn by Aaron Cooter. Some of you may know him from he did the short-lived run of Ed Brisson's Ghost Rider. He drew that. He did a pretty kick-ass Ghost Rider. The colors on that are it's a two guys that worked on it together for the colors is Frank Martin and Eric Adesanya, and the letters are Corey Pettit by VCs. That must be the company he works for. So basically, it's Hulk. The story kind of takes place when Hulk is like he's a skinnier version, slightly weaker version of himself.
I call him
From
Hungry Hulk. He's like,
yeah, Hungry Hulk. Yeah, he looks like an anorexic, uh, and he ends up and he's got a very innocent
yeah, he's just
vibe
wandering, and
to
like he
himself.
runs into a guy with a bag full of gifts, a
Full of
Santa.
gifts, and the guy drops a gift, so he's not paying attention. And as he's reaching down to pick it up, he looks up and sees the Hulk, panics, runs away into an alleyway. And then Hulk's like all sad because the guy's scared of him and runs away. So as he's like trying to like reach out to the guy, he sees the present that the guy dropped. And then his face lights up with this childlike look of
Yeah, like
glee
of
and
youthful
yeah,
innocence. Yeah, dude,
yeah, of
it's a
just
beautiful panel.
yeah, beautiful, great, like Aaron Cooter nails like all these scenes of like that childlike innocence and happiness, and he
Oh,
just
and
nails it.
those lovely colors too. I mean, this
Yeah,
is just such a the coloring is just so lush. The two people that worked on it, chef kisses to them, man.
yeah. And I'm not too familiar with the King in Black storyline because I didn't read that. I don't really do all the crossovers and big events on the big two. But the man, when he gets scared, he runs into the alleyway, and what comes out are one of those uh,
Symbiotes with a swirl on their face,
with a
whatever.
swirl, yeah, from the Carnage symbiote swirl thing. He comes out. It's a black symbiote with the red swirl, and I guess he ate the man that ran away. So then the Hulk's like taken aback, and then
Oh,
they
but you
kind of
forgot when the Hulk opens the present, it's a hair dryer, and he gets bummed out again because the
but
present
isn't
is
but that's after he has the little fight with the symbiote, no?
Well, I thought he opened the present first and then the
First,
symbiote. Yeah,
anyway, it doesn't. It's not really that. It's more like the vibe and the feeling of the story that's important. They just threw that in there just to have a. Basically, that symbiote's only in there because they wanted people to buy an extra fucking book to cash in. Because you could have told this story without any symbiotes in there, and it would have been an even better story. Like take out all the symbiote crap, and you could have just told that story without that. Like the emotions he goes through. Because after that part, he walks up to the mall, right? And there's like
big Christmas display, beautiful.
big Christmas display. Yeah, beautiful. Like and like you say, the colors and the light shining in his face, and he's looking. Then he gets a flashback to when he was a kid, and when he was a kid, his father was abusive, and he goes back to a memory of his dad kicking a model set. I can't remember if it was a train set or he had that model building, and his dad was I don't know if remember if he was drunk or whatever, but he kicks it and destroys it, and he gets like another panel of just his face where he just this sadness washes over him. Then he gets angry and he smashes the window, and he goes into the store, and that's when uh, another symbiote shows
Two
up,
more,
right? Two
two
more.
more.
But before then, because of the sadness that washes over him, he turns into Bruce Banner again, I believe, right?
Right.
And then this symbiote starts approaching him. It's kind of threatening. And if anyone read Immortal Hulk, you know how Al Ewan handled the Hulk and its different personalities, and like the Hulk is more. It's more of like a psychological like kind of aspect of it where the Hulk has multiple personalities and they can come out and become manifest themselves. And then all of a sudden, Joe Fixit shows up, and he's a wily, crafty dude that takes care of that symbiote by putting some kind of sonic sound through his phone. And when the symbiote's all freaking out over the sound, he
Tortures them.
he finds the thing and tortures them and kills them that way. So, and in this, Joe Fixit isn't like the Gray Hulk. It's just a sleazy looking version of Bruce Banner with like the fucking handlebar mustache, and you know he wears the Hawaiian shirts, and yeah,
Yeah,
he's
like a bar bum version of Banner.
yeah, exactly. That's Joe Fixit in the LU in Immortal Hulk, which is pretty cool, and yeah, he takes care of business like that, and
And it was a cute, fun Christmas book. I
yeah,
I thought it was really fast read, but it's one that you go back through to
it's
look at again because it's so
well,
gorgeous. I mean,
it's
it's
another silent comic, right? There's no
right.
dialogue. Yeah, so that's another silent comic. No dialogue. It's the story's all told through images, and I really enjoyed it. Like when I picked that up, it was around Christmas time. And I was like, that was a really fun read for the holidays. Like a superhero book that tackles like puts themes of Christmas within the story, like how he has a flashback to Christmas morning with his dad kicking his toys and breaking them. Like it was, yeah,
Well, like you said, it really isn't. It's a shameless tie-in. Like you would think that it would be a crappy cash grab, but it ends up not being. It actually ends up being probably one of the best kind of tie into an event book I've ever seen
yeah.
because it really just, like you said, it could have been the Hulk with any other enemy, and they could have found ways to take care of them in a mall. But like this happened to be the symbiotes from King in Black. But man, it really is. It's a one shot that you won't mind picking up, and like I wouldn't call a waste of money at all. Actually,
Yeah, because the story itself is really well done. Like with the flashbacks, it actually tackles like some of Bruce's story. Like it's really well done. And like I said, Cooter with the facial expressions just knocks it out of the park. Like he does a fantastic job on this. So yeah, if you guys haven't checked it out, man, it's definitely a book that's really worth checking out.
right, right. And next up for me, I'm going to be rocking a little bit of DC love. I'm going Vertigo Comics. This is Lucifer number issue 20, The Thunder Sermon. This one very tangentially kind of ties into Christmas, but I still count it as one because I was reading this when it came out, and it was the December issue of that year. And
Mm-hmm.
they do mention Santa and the holidays, so I count it. But this one is the issue where Lucifer finally stands up for himself and tells everybody that, like, I've created my own creation. I'm going to go and make my own universe and everything, and it's going to be mine, and nobody can tell me what to do with it. And Michael the Archangel comes down and tells him about the thunder sermon and all this Old Testamenty type stuff, and he basically tells Michael that he can go back to heaven and tell the old man to stuff it, and it's pretty gangster. It's pretty awesome. But you also got the subplot of these two. I don't know if they're junkies, but they kind of play him off that way. It's kind of this dude that's always been sprung off this girl, and she's kind of always led him around because he's that kind of guy. And she convinces him to travel all the way to the city to break into the Lux or Luke's, however you're supposed to say it,
Deluxe, yeah.
Lucifer's nightclub palace,
Nightclub, yeah.
where there's no doors, so they climb up it and get into it. But there's basically like a huge city in there,
Hmm.
and they get lost in there, and the whole time they know that God's got a plan, God's going to help them, and they keep saying that. And at the end, the one guy, the Ethan or whatever his name is, trying to find help, trying to go get help for the girl, runs into Lucifer and is like, why didn't you help us? What, where are we? What happened? And basically told him, man, you came into my house uninvited on Christmas and you asked him for help in my house. I got no
Mhm.
compassion for you. And I was just like,
Yeah.
oh man, that just really, that's why I love this book
Oh,
so much, because they never tried to turn him into a good guy. He was just so impetuously evil the entire run, but at the same time, like, he's very, very intoxicating. And I don't know if rooting for him's the right word, but if you've never read Mike Carey's run of Lucifer, which is a direct spin-off from the Lucifer of Sandman, it's basically what
Sandman.
happens after Season of Mist. Um, it is one of the greatest comics ever written. It's definitely Vertigo's most underrated hit. I mean, it ran for over 70 issues, but I don't hear a lot of people ever talk about it. But dude, check this book out. It's really good. And for this to be the issue that they put out like the month of Christmas, where people are going to be reading this right before the holiday, oh man, it is just such a wicked gut punch of a turn of phrase, man.
Yeah.
Just a great issue. What'd you think of it, Joe?
Uh, I haven't really read the Lucifer that much. Like I said, Pat read the. We have book one, so I think it's like the first 20 issues. So this might actually be in it. I'm not entirely sure. Or book one would probably be the first 12, so maybe not. Uh, and she didn't like it that much. She thought it was okay, but because she's basing it from the show, right? She saw the show first and read it. So
Yeah,
yeah, so she
that's
was
gonna
kind of like,
be
oh, it's not. She's like, he's not. Like I was like, yeah, but it's from the Sandman, right? Because we read Sandman, and Lucifer and Sandman isn't quite the same Lucifer that you see on the show. So she's like, okay, yeah, I get it, but yeah, yeah. But I enjoyed that story. It was pretty cool how the time, like, it seems like for them only hours, but they've been in there for days. Just like the scene where Lucifer runs into uh, you, Ewan is his name.
yeah.
He's like, "Oh, you got to help my girlfriend," and he's like, "Dude, she's been dead for 3 days." What? And he only thinks it's like a few hours, but it's been 3 days, and yeah, it's kind of weird how reality doesn't unfold the same inside that house, inside the Lux, as it would on the outside. So that was kind of cool, and watching them deteriorate. And I thought the artist on this is Dean Ormston.
Yeah.
You might know him from
Black
the first
Hammer.
the first couple arcs of Jeff Lemire's Black Hammer. He was the artist on it. The colors were done by Daniel Bozo. The separations are Jameson. Comics crafted the letters, and Christopher Moeller did the cover. But yeah, like I think Dean did a great job with it, and I dig his style. Like I like his style, so I mean, for me, it's a treat to see any book that he works on. And I was pleasantly surprised because I don't know if he takes over art duties from the original artist in the beginning. Who was the original artist in the first? Because in the beginning, it's someone else.
They had a rotating group of artists. Like, it was the same group of people. I forget but like, one guy would do like an arc of like 3 issues. Then Dean Ornstrom would come and do a few issues, and then another guy would do them, and they'd basically switch out between these three different.
So he was there from the beginning then, like
Yeah,
in the first.
but
Okay,
he would. I think he out of like this. Yeah, he did probably about like 15 to 20 issues in the
total
whole
of
run.
the
Yeah,
okay, okay. But anyway, I thought his Lucifer looked pretty cool with the sleek, thin eyebrows, and I liked his look. It was pretty good. Mm.
yeah. That um, I don't know how else to put it, but that almost kind of jagged style. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah. It's good.
really
Yeah,
loose,
good
really
stuff.
kind of
Yeah,
almost cartoony, but at the same time,
like
not.
it's almost like a Magnola kind of at times. Mike Magnola, he's got
Yeah,
that vibe a little bit, but then no, you look at it and he's got his own thing going on. Like I dig his style. Anyone who's read Black
yeah.
Hammer
If you,
knows exactly what we're talking about. Mm,
yeah, dude, you know Dean's art when you see it, man. Like no one
yeah,
else draws like him.
like his pencil drawings are so fucking awesome. Like the non-inked stuff. Like if you see his stuff before he inks it, just his pencil drawings. Oh, fuck! I'd love to get my hands on one of his pencil drawings. They're so good. Like where he shades it in himself in pencil. Really nice stuff. Really nice stuff. But anyway, yeah, this was yeah, like the two characters when they're climbing the building, they're wearing Santa
Santa
hats.
hats. Yeah.
So that makes it kind of Christmas.
What do we say if we get caught? Oh, we're wearing Santa hats. We'll just say we're doing it for charity.
For charity, yeah. So they make a few jokes about it, and yeah, it's pretty good. I enjoyed it. Yeah, like the biggest thing I was pleasantly surprised by was Dean was on art duties. I was like, nice. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna dig this. So it was pretty cool. I liked it. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next up is what? It's gonna be our read along.
Yes, sir.
All right, this is gonna be fun. This is a great book. Yeah. So yeah, Frank Miller time, baby. Yeah, I think this is probably one of the best showcases of his art, like his talent art wise. Like in this book, Silent Night. Oof. I mean, he's hard to beat in this. It's fantastic. Just that cover. Just start off with that cover is so nice. Like it's great. Like the way the snow's done. Love it.
Yeah. I really think that he really sat down and took his time
Time and it
because
shows. It shows. Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, I'm a huge fan of Sin City, so I'm not saying that this is as good or better than any of the graphic novels. But out of all the little one shots for Booze, Broads, and Bullets, this is
Mhm.
by far like the best one of those.
Oh yeah. When I picked this up back in the '90s when I was in college, man, it blew my mind. I went through it and I was like, holy fuck, this is like almost like untouchable, like legendary. Like I love this book. Visually is fantastic. So let's get to it. So this is the cover, opening scene. Like I mean, come on. Look at it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean,
How much do
it,
you think the original pages of this one goes for? Like let's say from this issue.
I would say $20,000, something like
Holy
that.
fuck. Yeah,
I'm not
probably. They're
sure,
beautiful. Like
but
the original art must be so beautiful. Like I mean, mm,
he does this. He uses white pencil on black paper, right, to do like these pages.
I don't know. I'd never.
That's what I always figured he had to
Mm,
do. But yeah, either that or like, man, that's a lot of like really scribbling in with some black ink, and like the blacks are so black, like that's like almost a Junji Ito. Like he's got to have Junji Ito's wife's mother
I
helping
mean, he
him.
does fantastic job with the snow. Like you really get the feel of like a heavy snowstorm. Yeah, the lighting, like just that, the lighting coming off his shoulder and his forehead, just and going into pitch black in the middle of the jacket. So you feel like he's hiding his hands inside his jacket, like trying to stay warm. You get the sense of the wind from just the folds and the angle of the jacket. Amazing stuff. Like really, and his jackets, the way he does the folds in the clothes and stuff.
I always got a
I just
feeling
love
that
it.
Marv had to be his favorite character to draw.
Hmm.
He always seemed like he had the most fun and
Yeah,
got the most detail and angles and all his Frank Miller goodness into every little bit of it when he was drawing Marv.
yeah, like with the wrinkly face and stuff, with that flat nose, like that's iconic, man. The profile of Marv with his flat nose and like the big ugly brute, right?
Yeah, with the
With
just
the
that.
bleeding heart for all those prostitutes and strippers.
Well, that's the thing that I love the most about Sin City is Marv. Like he's so big and scary, and everybody's afraid of him. But like he won't hurt a girl. He actually will
No.
tear up a guy that hurts a girl. But then you have the other hero, Dwight, who's a pretty boy who could gets all the ladies, and he don't care about smacking them around. He'll go ahead and do it. So I kind of really like the way that Frank kind of did that with his characters.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, like look at that.
Boom.
Oh, man, this book is stellar.
The
And with the
shading and the lighting
snow,
that he
yeah,
does, man, like
that
oh,
that heavy contrast. I love how he comes with the shadows and then just goes in like you're saying he probably goes in with a white ink or white paint to get those wrinkle details and get those fine details like the white on black. He has to. He has to block it in and then just come in with some white paint or something. Maybe not. Maybe he just goes all with straight with the ink and it's hard to say like, oh, like this is beautiful. Like the snowstorm, how it's you just barely see like a little bit of a silhouette of a person kind of
just
disappearing
lost.
into the
And
storm. Yeah, exactly. Like beautiful. So well done. Like fantastic. Like the only real detail you really see clearly is the bottom of his jacket flapping in the wind. Yeah. Yeah. Walking up to the to the club with a light like like this stuff is just his
yeah,
negative the use of black and white with negative space and yeah,
how good those bricks look.
yeah, fantastic, man.
Oh, just
Yeah, stepping up on a guy like he does.
straight up, just boom, right in your face, man.
Yeah, like are you gonna
You
tell
know,
me I can come in there? Don't think so, bud. And I love like the shadow of the bars, how they curve,
yeah,
and then
very
but then
German expressionistic
yeah,
movie style, like something you'd see out of like Cabinet of
it,
Dr. Caligari.
and how his hairline cuts the shadow, but there's no line. Just that where it cuts the shadow
Yeah,
of the bars, you can kind of define. Like I love his use of positive and negative space, and a guy who really does that well is Victor Santos.
yeah. Victor Santos
Has
is
that
another.
his play of positive negative space and with the heart with the heavy black shadows and stuff. He's fantastic as well. Yeah, like oh man, look at that.
Boom, like just so clean, so
Yeah, look
cinematic.
at the like go back. I love that. Just the simplistic, just the shapes of the stairs. You don't have to give it details, man. You know exactly winding stairs. You don't have to put any detail. Just those shapes with him at the bottom. Like and just that solid black around like a void he's walking down. It's man, like it becomes a focal point. Like no details except for in that jacket again. I love it. Mm,
And this is when shit starts getting real,
yeah.
coming
Like
in.
I love the shadows. Like you see the shadows of the guys, and he just comes in with the white to define that brick. I love that
Yeah, the
that style.
behind the chair. Yeah,
Yeah, and
the
like
shadow.
the shadows of the guys on the walls, leaning on the walls. You see the brick, then all of a sudden he comes in with that white to define that brick. And I love how he goes with a thinner line on the bricks and doesn't complete the lines to really give you that sense of brightness in the room. Fantastic. Like I love that. It's great. So fucking good. Mm.
Yeah. That's another thing that was so good about this issue is like it's just a splash pages, man. Just really
Mm-hmm.
big, really gorgeous panels all the way through. So I think
It's
that's
like
why he was able to do such definition and such just great work with it.
with a giant stogie, man.
Yeah, man.
Dig the smoke on that. That's so nice. The smoke coming off the end. So
You know
cool.
she got deep ass voice. If she's smoking stogies like that, she sound like Dr. Girlfriend from Venture Brothers. So you're here for the girl, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mars is like, yeah, whatever. Just do it already. Just take me
Yeah.
where I want
So
to
far,
go.
silent comic, right? No dialogue whatsoever. It would take away. I think it would ruin. Right? Like dialogue bubbles would ruin the whole feel of these pages. Mm,
Taking him to the door, showing him
to the door. Yeah. What's
what's
up?
going on, and yeah,
Ah, I
just
love
just
that.
the starkness of this, man. It's just pop art. You know what I mean? It looks like
Yeah. Ugh.
boom, like a
Yeah.
KMFDM album cover. Like,
Yeah. So nice. So nice.
and then bam.
Yeah. Then you see the girl.
Then you see what's going on, what Marv's there for.
Yeah.
And you know Marv don't mess around. He don't play with stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, the
And I
little
love how they
eyes
just the eyes, yeah, the
just
shadow from the bangs to the eyes just pop, right? They just bam. You just see that scared little girl, the innocent scared little girl. The eyes say everything, right? It tells the whole story right there. Does such a great job with that.
and yeah, Marv's doing what Marv does, man. He's
Yeah.
like,
And just again, how he doesn't define his shapes with a complete outline, how like the positive space just from the background bleeds into the character in the foreground. Love it. It's just fantastic, man.
and then
Ugh,
boom, the
yeah.
iconic, yeah.
Yeah.
This
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 is mhm,
one of Miller's greatest ever, man. This thing
yeah.
should be a tattoo.
Yeah.
Probably the greatest rendering of Marv I've seen, and like Marv's probably
This
my
one I
favorite
could see.
character.
This one probably going for 20 easy. Yeah. If you had this page, the original
Oh
art, man.
yeah,
Woo.
dude.
Yeah. So
If I was
nice.
if I was Nicolas Cage, I'd buy it. You know what I mean? If I had that kind of money, it'd be like buying
Yeah.
for Action Comics issue 1 and stuff like that. That would be like my stupid rich guy buy of the decade or the century.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Aaron. And then boom. Yeah, you know that's coming, man. You sick bastards. This is what you get.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
I know, like, you go walk down the back alley in Sin City, you can find anything, but like, should you be able to find anything? Marv don't
Yeah.
think so. And then, yeah, you're gonna get it. And I just
Does
just the blacked out hand and gun and
mm, yeah.
the symmetry, just really cool. It's one of the smaller panels in the book, but it really catches my eye whenever I get to that page. And
Mm.
then, boom.
See,
That's
like you
right.
said before, he won't hurt girls unless
Well,
right
yeah.
that
Well,
taking a trying to sell a little girl to people.
yeah, there are
That
transgressions when you stop
despicable.
being a human being. You know what I mean? In my
Exactly.
opinion.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Marv, like mm,
And then
prison rules, man. You just don't hurt women and children, right?
the
Yeah.
fury,
You did
man.
it.
There's just letting the demon out.
Ah.
Just such a
Yeah.
powerful image of Marv. Just
This
yeah,
whole book, man. This is like it's basically an art. He decided to do an issue that's an art book.
yeah. I mean, it is like a showcase or like a, but
Definitely. Like poof. Visually this book has to rate in the tops, like Reese said, like Aaron, Aaron Reese, man. I agree with you. This is definitely like if you want to show someone how to do black and white comics, you just slap this on the desk and show it to them and be like, "All right, go through this and study it cuz man, it's practically flawless."
and we got a little bit of hope in those sad eyes.
Mm.
Your mom's been asking for you. Let's go home.
Only dialogue in the whole book.
Marv, arms of an angel, a angel brute.
Yeah. Yeah. and
and
back
then
into the snow.
into Whence He Came, the
Yeah,
end.
yeah,
And that's how you
silent.
do it, man.
Yeah, man. And I love that the title's perfect. Silent Night. There's no dialogue in it. Uh, the only letters you see mainly are that one bubble dialogue and just the sound effects for the guns firing. Aside from that, there's no.
Yeah, some onomatopoeia is the kind of the only
Yeah,
dialogue you get besides the one bubble from
yeah.
Marv.
Fantastic issue. I remember when that came out. Oof. Yeah. Silent Night, a silent comic. That's a that's a masterpiece right there.
Right, right.
Yeah. Love that comic. And like you said, like it's really quick read because almost like you said, there's almost no panels. It's splash page after splash page, right? Or just maybe a couple panels per page, like you said. Fantastic stuff.
But you don't get mad about it because every page is a masterpiece. I mean, like,
Well, with art like that, you you can't help but stop on a page and look at it for a good amount of time, right? To check out the details, to check out how he worked how he's a master with the positive and negative space and how he plays with the two, and like every page is worth studying. Like you just got to take it in and let it soak in. It's great. It's fantastic.
I mean, even his more simplistic ones, like this here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, yeah, the way he blocks out like everything. It's man, how old was I when this came out? I was in my probably 21, 22 when this came out, and it just blew my mind. I was like, man.
In that particular issue, yeah.
And
I
like,
think I
you
was in
know,
high school, so yeah.
like, and that's when Image was kind of coming out and the digital coloring just started, and it was oversaturated, right? Like all those comics with the coloring was just oversaturated with too much stuff going on. And then
Yeah.
you have Frank Miller coming out and being like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna put out a black and white comic, right, with Sin City." Like going against the grain, right?
Black and
Everyone's
white.
like, "Oh, you know, like fucking Image with these magazine pages and these bright colors and like." And then he's like, "Nah, man, Sin City,
Oh, and
black and
also
white."
doing straight up pulp noir. I mean,
Yeah,
nobody was doing this at this time. It was a dead
no,
genre.
mm,
Nobody was making films that really. There was neo noir, which is way different. But going back and doing straight up pulp era,
yeah.
pop art noir, like nobody was doing that at the time, dude, except for maybe people in France, because like I know I've learned that a lot of Frank's influence comes from European comics. So like I think that noir was probably still alive in Europe and stuff, but in American comics, nobody was doing pop art,
Um,
black and white pulp noir.
because wasn't he one of the big supporters of Wolf and Cub to try to get it released in North America? Wasn't
Yeah,
he pushing for that? He was one of the big guys pushing to get Wolf and Cub brought republished and so people could get it in North America. I know he was a big advocate for that.
yeah. When Dark Horse picked it up,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but yeah, like it's a really cool issue. You can get it in the collection called Booze, Broads, and Bullets. You can probably find the single issue for not too much on eBay. I can usually
yeah.
find Sin City stuff, especially like the single issues, for really not that bad of prices.
No, it's not bad at all.
I
You'd
think
think.
I think the most expensive I've seen one go for is around $25. So
Yeah,
for a
yeah. Because
single
I
issue of
think
Sin City,
maybe because before like the craziness happened, right? Like the Sin City movie came out before comic book
yeah,
movies went berserk, and like as soon as it got announced that a character was getting a movie, fucking the comic would shoot up to like $50, and like that didn't really exist back then because you didn't have eBay wasn't as strong back then. You know, you mainly had to go through your comic shop to get most of your comics. So now with social media, the internet, eBay, I mean, people just go online and just it's the speculation market is kind of back at an all-time high, I find, with all this stuff.
well, what's cool is like we're saying, some old hat stuff really hasn't gone up from like what it's always kind of
Hmm?
been. I
No,
mean,
man, like I don't care. People keep saying that '90s comics are shit because you know what? It keeps the prices low and I can buy them for a reasonable price, and I love them. So keep telling everyone they're shit and don't buy them because that's fine by me, man. It gives me a chance to get my hands on them for a reasonable price. Yeah.
but yeah, if you would like to own this issue, like yeah, like you could probably find the single issue on eBay for not too bad, or you could get the trade paperback or
Hmm.
hardcover for Booze, Broads, and Bullets. It's also in the whole goddamn thing compendium for Sin City
Hmm.
as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of different versions out now. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it seems like every couple years they do a reprinting of Sin City. Like there's
Hmm.
been like three different reprintings plus
Yeah.
the compendium since the movies come out. So
Mm.
like they're constantly in print. Like you don't have
Yeah.
to
Well, it's
worry
a
about.
classic, right? It's a classic now. That's Sin City's a classic comic. Like, I mean, it's gonna go down as with any of the other greats. So I think that's why you have to keep it in print. You gotta let people. You gotta be able to have it accessible for people to read it. I mean, it's too good not to.
Yeah, and yeah, it is what it is, man. Like it's the goat.
Hmm.
So
Hey,
you ready?
I mean, he made a name for himself before, and then that's a sign of of greatness right there. Like he put out what was it, Return of the Dark Knight, like put him
Daredevil
on
before that.
Daredevil, and then Return of the Dark Knight. People are like, oh, this guy's fucking a king. Then he comes out with Sin City. It's like just
Yeah, he
outdoing
proves that
himself
he
each
can.
time. Yeah,
Well, Sin
exactly.
City, he proves that he can do it with his own toys, though. He doesn't have
Yeah,
to work within Marvel or DC's
yeah,
editor system and stuff.
exactly. Yeah. So he has nothing left to prove. I mean, he's done what he, you know, that's it.
I
He
heard
could
he's
just
doing
fucking.
a new Sin City. It's going to be a Western, though.
Oh
But
yeah.
I don't know if he's going to draw it himself because he seems to
Yeah.
just be writing comics and letting other people
Hmm.
draw them.
Hmm.
I'm not sure how I feel about that, and I don't know. I got to say, Andy Kubert, when he did those other Dark Knight books, when Frank quit drawing them, just writing them, like
Hmm.
he drew exactly like Frank Miller did in the original
He.
Dark Knight graphic novel. If you get Dark Knight 3,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the writing. I actually enjoy Master Race, but it is what it is. But the artwork, man, he completely nailed Frank
Nailed
Miller's
it.
style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Ah. Okay. Milo Mantra.
Yeah.
The
Milo
Sin City
Manara.
Western. Manara. Okay.
Damn, dude. He's so like I'm not even gonna be mad that he's not drawn on if he's getting Minar. Like, cause I love Milo's work, dude. The Pirate Planet Paranesis and Eyes of Pandora. Like he's a European guy. He's the guy that got in trouble for drawing Spider Woman with the nice butt a couple years ago.
Oh yeah.
Remember when
Okay.
everybody got mad about that? Yeah, that was him. That was Milo
Mhm.
Manara.
Yeah. Oh. People get mad about all kinds of stuff.
He's a master, man. Like he actually did a graphic novel with Federico Fellini, and I don't know if Fellini did many graphic novels, but I know he did one with Milo Manara. So
Cool.
ain't too
Cool.
many comic people can say that.
Yeah. All right. All
So
right.
hopping from one king to another, we're gonna hop on to British royalty and madness. We have Klaus by
House.
one Mr. Grant Morrison and with wonderful art by Dan Mora. And I really do like this dude's art. Like it's a
Hmm.
very, very, I don't know, it almost has like this. I almost felt like I was reading an animated film. Like it looks like you could just basically really take his art style and turn it into an animated film really easy without having to change really the book's look drastically. And I'm actually surprised this hasn't been turned into an animated film. It really has like really good heart and emotion to it, and
Hmm.
it's got some weird Grant Morrison moments to it, but as far as his stuff goes, this is very tame. This is
Very tame. Yeah.
he really behaved himself for his Christmas tale.
Yeah. And it's still pretty odd Christmas tale. So
Oh
yeah.
yeah, like
You have
he really made his own version of Santa Claus with this, but like I like it. Like his Santa Claus is a badass. He's almost as
yeah.
cool as Guts from Berserk
Yeah.
or like The Witcher.
Yeah, and the letter on that is Ed Deckenshire, like we had on the what was it, the Moon Knight book? No,
Yeah,
no, not the Moon Knight. Which book was it that he was the letterer on?
and Dukeshire did. I'm pretty sure it was Moon Knight.
No, that was Russ Wooton.
Oh, you're right. Then it
Yeah,
was.
I don't remember, but
Yeah, we
anyway.
talked. He letters a lot of stuff, man. He's a king of it.
Oh, it was in one of the books in our check-in.
Okay. Then it was
Yeah.
probably
Plush. It was
Plush.
Plush. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. He was a letter on Plush. Yeah. So Klaus, man, like, I don't even know. Basically, it's his take on Santa Claus, right?
Yeah. It starts out this guy. He basically is coming to this town, and it used to be like this really happy, wonderful place where he actually
Mhm.
grew up. You end up finding that out
Yeah,
through flashbacks, but um,
yeah,
at this point, all you know is like he's coming there, and he's been there before. But the place is miserable now. The kids
mhm,
aren't allowed to play. The people all have to work in the mine constantly because
mhm.
like the Duke is or the Baron's all crazy,
Yeah,
and he just sees this place that used to be so full of joy and life miserable. So
yeah.
he
What's the first place he stops in at, right? You want to know what's going on. You stop in at the bar and talk to the barkeep, right?
right.
You know, he knows what's going down. So, and he's like, you just don't speak your mind. Keep your
Yeah.
head down and don't say shit, right? And then he's like, what
I was
happened to
trying to warn
the
him,
guy?
like you're asking the wrong question, shh, buddy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, what happened to the old barkeep? Well, he said the wrong things, and
You answered the
he's
wrong
not here.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now he's not here anymore. Mm, mm.
So basically,
That
like
sets it.
the cops come in and they take his furs and uh, kind of beat him up and throw him out of town, and then they actually start shooting arrows at him. But then his wolf friend comes out and saves him from the people that are
Yeah.
hunting him really fast, and he's got this beautiful kind of white dire wolf named
Lily,
Lily. Lily,
Lily, yeah,
yeah,
Lily, yeah.
really cool
Great.
character.
Yeah, I love it when they have like animal characters that have a lot of personality and stuff like that. It's cool. It's a great sidekick. Yeah.
And so, yeah, after he gets saved by his wolf, they like hang out in the woods, and like he's gonna play his flute, and his dog kind of whistles along, and it brings down the Shining family, which are I guess basically kind of like the Christmas elves in this version, and like they're these really neat kind of
Ghostly.
Mandelbrot looking ghost. They're made out of all these geometrical shapes,
Mhm.
colored like diamonds and crystals and stuff, and they
Yeah.
basically give him this really rad, cool trip where he
Yeah.
sees like all kinds of cool psychedelic stuff because Grant
It gets
Morrison.
pretty psychedelic. Yeah. Yeah. It those scenes now. I wonder if Marco was inspired by those pages for his book.
Yeah, because
Uh,
it was pretty reminiscent to.
yeah, yeah. So I wonder if he got inspired by that, or yeah, it definitely had the similar vibes to some of the pages from his book. Yeah. Mm.
But when he wakes up, after the weird trip dream he
The
has,
trip.
the yeah, the kind of woods behind him is just filled with these really intricate, beautiful toys, like
Mm,
these birds that can actually fly and like all kinds of neat little stuff. So he takes them into town to give to the kids, so they can have a Christmas because nobody should be bummed out as the town is at Yule time, and. He's kind of like solid snaking around, man, climbing around on walls and stuff.
mm,
But he basically gets spotted and he gets chased down by like the guards and stuff, and pretty really cool action set piece
mm.
um where he's solid snaking around or like sleeping in the shadows and kind of knocking him out and rolling around, and but basically he gets to the point where he gets caught up and his wolf comes and kind of saves him, but he gets her to leave. And
Yeah, like because when they is this the scene where they release the hounds,
yeah,
or
the
is that another one?
dogs.
The dogs, yeah, and then the wolf comes to intimidate them to get rid of them. Yeah, yeah, that's a great scene too. What's going on? And they're like, oh, there's a wolf before they realize it's him that's running around causing all these problems. Mm. Wolf ghost or ghost wolf, they call him. or a
Yeah.
wolf man, or then they, how in the olden days, like just hysteria, and they just create these stories how it's a ghost wolf or a wolf man or a half man, half wolf running around the city terrorizing. Yeah.
Terrorizing by giving kids toys, yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't be happy. God forbid.
And basically he gets shot with an arrow and gets kind of
Laced
um
with poison.
laced with poison, and he's kind of out of it, but he gets found by a little kid who helps him escape. But at this time, you basically meet the Baron, who is this guy who is the old Duke's son, and
Mhm.
he's married to the Queen, who you're going to find out a lot more about her. And they have this kid who's not content with anything. Like they give him like these beautiful like fit little towns that are built by artisans that took him like years to make and stuff, and he's just smashing them, being a little brat and
Yeah.
stuff. And
Boring. It's all boring. I'm bored with this. They create a whole village, a town for him, and he just stomps on it and sets it on fire. A real little spoiled brat.
yeah, evil little shit, man. But
Yeah.
uh, then you meet his dad, who is, like I said, he's
Hmm.
like this kind of weakling guy who's kind of gotten everything given to him his whole life. But you find out he's kind of doing weird deals with a voice in this mine, which you're going to learn a lot more about. And switching back to Klaus, he's taken back to his magical place in
Cabin.
the
Yeah.
magical cabin in the woods where he's got his medicine. The little kids basically had to drag him all the way out there. The little kid's actually really funny, really cute character. I enjoyed him a lot.
Hmm.
Um, he had a neat way of kind of complaining about having to do all this hard work, but not being a little shit about it. Like it was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Hmm. And then he has another trip to heal himself, and the psychedelic trips are really well done. Like the colors they use and stuff, it's pretty cool. It's really cool. And that's when the Baron, like, they figure out that it's this Klaus character giving toys. Uh, and because the kid went and helped them, they follow the trails, right? And that's how when they go
Yeah,
out trying to hunt him, take care of the problem of this generous man giving all these kids toys, because God forbid, right? You got to kill someone like that.
and yeah,
Yeah.
like
So,
they stake him out to the ice, and when they mess up Lily really bad, they shoot her with the arrows too. So
uh-huh.
like basically she's ran out, and like Klaus is left staked to the ice, and but Lily ends up coming back after the other people leave, and like Klaus is kind of slowly freezing, but they whistle together, and it brings down the little
Little.
trip guys again, and they finally actually turn him into the Santa
Mhm,
as we know it, like the eternal warrior that is
mhm.
Santa Claus, the warrior for the people, because Klaus means victory for the people, is one of the things
See,
the book tells you a couple times.
when I was reading that part, I was like, man, are they gonna let the dog die? I was like, but not the dog,
Yeah.
but the wolf. I was like, man, is Grant gonna do that to me, man? Is he gonna kill Lily? I don't know if I can handle this. But no, the little elf fairy creatures come in and save them both.
Yeah, because basically, like, yeah, Lily's like his constant companion, and he kind of has flying dire wolves instead of reindeer in this because,
Mhm.
like, you end up finding out the Baron, who you end up finding out the history. Like, basically, Klaus used to be best friends with the wife,
The
the
princess
queen.
when she was a princess when they were younger, yeah. Mhm.
Her dad found him and basically raised him, and like they basically ended up framing Klaus for killing her dad when the Baron actually did it,
Mhm.
so he can inherit his dad's power for the voice that's in the coal mine, which you end up finding out is Krampus, and it breaks
Yeah.
out and it's gonna eat all the kids, but
Wants the kids, yeah.
it's going to
Exactly.
start with the Barons because, like, that's what Krampus wants is the spoiled, rotten, evil little kids that don't appreciate anything.
Because they taste the best.
Yeah. So Klaus basically has to come and show these people the Baron's kid and wife that they've been wrong all this time and kind of make them for the people again while fighting Krampus, and it's just really cool. I love the way Krampus is rendered in this book.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm. The skull faced with the antlers. It's pretty cool. Yeah, yeah, with the kind of uh, goat hoofed legs and the jagged clawed hands, and he's like spitting fire and brimstone. It's a pretty cool design, very intimidating, very yeah. And right
And
away, like he doesn't waste any time. He's like, I want children, I want to eat them. Where are they? Like there's
yeah,
no yeah. So yeah, it's a really great design. Mm.
and basically the kid that helped Santa get to his woods, he's basically saving all the other children, helping them escape from Krampus, and also is trying to actually help the spoiled little Baron's son as well. He's the little kid actually becomes a pretty cool little hero, and then the kid's dad, who's been down in the mine the whole time, actually ends up showing up and saving and showing all the other villagers that like we have to help save these people too. It's got really cool hero time moments.
Mhm.
It's a little cheesy, but like I like it,
Yeah,
because it's a
yeah,
Christmas story.
yeah,
Like
yeah. It's like you said, Grant really held back, right? He could have gone like
yeah, I think
if
he
he
knew that
knew.
comic
Hmm.
people might want to read this with their kids because, I
Hmm.
mean, I don't know about young ones, but like I don't
Yeah,
know, kind of slightly older kids, like 8 or 9. You could probably read
yeah,
this with
I'd
them,
say
and
yeah. With kids that are nearing 10 years old, yeah, you definitely could, because the violence. There's only maybe two panels that are pretty violent. Are where the Krampus creature, whatever the demon creature, uh, spits fire on the Baron.
yeah, burns the
That's
Baron alive. Yeah, that's
yeah,
pretty. I forgot about that. That is a pretty gruesome panel.
and where the Baron before that, where the Baron stabs Klaus through the back. That one's pretty graphic too. You see the
Yeah,
blade coming out with all the blood, but those are the only two slightly graphic. But even then, they're he didn't. It's not as graphic if you know Grant Morrison as some of his other books can be. So it's pretty tame
yeah,
for like by then 10-year-olds are probably playing video games that are probably way more graphic and violent than that. So I don't think it would be an issue. Mm.
yeah. Well, hell,
Yeah,
I mean, like the Luke Cage show had like a person being lit on fire, and they showed. Oh, wait, that was on Netflix though. Never mind. I
yeah,
was gonna say they showed
yeah,
that on Disney, and I'm like, wait, no, they didn't.
yeah, yeah. So
But
then you're at the part where Klaus has to confront the creature.
yeah, and he does, just basically tells them that there are no bad children, that they don't exist, and if they do, that they deserve a chance to be brought into the light and
Yeah,
the
yeah, that's
goodness.
true. He
And
says there are no bad children. That's true. That's like a big full page panel where he's like attacking the creature and yelling it at the top of his lungs. That's like a big moment in the book. Mm.
and he reclaims the red and the white for hope because those are the colors of the land, and
Hmm.
he basically takes those back because the Baron had sullied them, and like he defeats Krampus for the people, and they have Christmas, they have a Yule time,
Yeah,
and basically the queen, the princess, she ends up convincing the people that she can actually lead them, that she was kind of dumb for a minute
mis
there, but
yeah misled by yeah.
by her husband,
Hmm.
and basically like he stays with her, and it's a really beautiful page the way they show the time pass because it's 4 different panels of them dancing, and she gets older while he's exactly the same age, and
Yeah,
then basically when she passes, that's when he decides to go home, and he tells the kid that Lucian, I think is his name, that he'll come and
yeah,
see him once
yeah,
every year.
yeah. Because he adopts him as his own.
And come and see him every year. You're a grown man, but like I'll come see you every Yule time. And but for now, I'm gonna go live in my house above the Aurora Borealis, and basically like he becomes the Santa Claus we know, and
Yeah.
or of that's been turned into what we have now. And
Mm.
I think it's really cool. Like I like a lot of stuff that Grant does, but I think that like he really kind of went out of his normal element to do this one. I've seen him do kind of family stuff before, but I've never seen him really get to the level of this one where it's actually something you could see on TV.
Yeah, yeah, it could become a Netflix animated holiday special easily, easily. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. Like Pat read it too; she enjoyed it. Like you said, Dan Morris' art is fantastic. He's great at action scenes. Uh, his use of color, the way he has snow that always rests on Claus's clothes. I mean, it's a beautiful book. The story's fun. Um, like you said, I think you can pretty much share it with most of the family as long as they're not, under 8 years old. Like,
Yeah, super
uh,
little, like, cause like
yeah.
I said, the Krampus is really gnarly. That might scare little ones, little
Nightmares,
ones.
yeah, a little maybe have nightmares a little bit, but yeah, it's a fun holiday read. Like this is pure holiday. Like this is a pure holiday read. Mm.
I can't recommend it highly enough. I know that there's been I think two arcs after this and a one shot. I haven't checked them out. I only have the first book,
Mhm.
and plus we I don't know if we could have covered the entire series if we would have reviewed it
Yeah,
all. But the
yeah,
first book is just superb. I can't speak for the other two, but I'm pretty sure they're good. This book is top notch, really good.
it was
Good for the whole family.
put out by Boom. So if you're looking for it, it's put out by Boom. So if you want to order it or something, you either look under Klaus or go. I don't know if Boom you could get even order it off their site if you can't find it at your comic shop, or if your comic shop could order it for you. But
And it's
it's a
I
fun,
think it's like $16 for
yeah.
the trade for this. It's
It's
eight
7 issues,
issues,
8 issues,
7 issues.
yeah, 7 or 8 issues. So that's
Yeah, yeah, it's a fat boy. It's
it's a
so
fat boy. Yeah, it's got
it's
some
almost
story.
300 pages, I think.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like it though when you think about it. You're like 8 issues. It felt like it was just like a regular like 5 issue miniseries, right? Like yeah, the pacing's pretty good in it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't drag. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Klaus, definitely a
Very
fun holiday read.
very cinematic. Very crowd pleasing.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, not like some of our other choices for
Yeah,
a little
some of the other
darker.
one,
This one's a little more bright to it, you know.
which is really good for Grant because like his other Christmas comic that I love a lot, Happy, which we're going to talk about pretty soon, is the complete opposite of this. You probably don't want a lot of people looking at you while you're reading Happy, man. That so yeah,
Yeah,
Grant can go many places, but it's really cool to see him go family friendly on this one.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by it. All right. So we're gonna close it out, right? We're at the movie part.
Yes, sir. We're going to be talking
All
about
right. The Ref, 1994, released in 94. The Ref, starring Dennis Leary, back in the day when he was the shit. Yeah, you
and
got Dennis Leary. You got this was directed by Ted. I don't know how to
Dimmy.
pronounce that.
Dimme?
Demi, whatever. You might know some of his other work, like Blow. He directed Blow, Life, the Martin Lawrence comedy. He directed that. Snitch. Another movie I enjoyed from his was Beautiful Girls, that he put out right after The Ref was his next movie, was Beautiful Girls. So those are some of the other movies he's directed. You have Dennis Leary playing the role of Gus. You have Judy Davis, who plays Caroline, who is the wife. You have another actor who we won't name by name, but we'll name by character. Lloyd is the husband. You got Glynis Johns, who plays the mother. Rose,
Oh
you
man,
might
she
you
is
might know
so
her.
evil.
She played Mary Poppins, so you might know her as Mary Poppins from the Mary Poppins movie. She's
Is
done a
that
lot of
really
stuff.
Mary Poppins? Wow, I did not
Yeah,
know
man.
that.
Yeah, and while you were sleeping, she was in that. She did one of the voices from the '80s, like Scooby Doo shows, like I think one of the like the "Oh You Darn Kids." If it weren't for you darn kids, she did a voice on that. She played a grandma on Superstar, so she's done quite a few things. She's done the appearances, like one episode things on
She should have got an Oscar for this, man. She really makes you hate her. I mean, she is amazing at just being the evil old lady that she is in this. I mean,
Yeah,
she shines. I mean, you literally do dislike her in this
yeah.
film.
Then you have Raymond J. Barry, Huff. His character's named Huff. He's the sheriff of the town that this story takes place in. You may know him from movies like Fallen Down and her more recent series like Snowfall, Gotham. He was on Ray Donovan. Yeah, he had a pretty significant role on Justified.
Yeah, he was
Uh,
Arlo, the dad.
yeah, Arlo, exactly. Yeah.
He was awesome.
Uh, yeah, you got uh, Christine Baranski, who you may know. She plays the wife to the brother of
Caroline.
Connie. Yeah, Connie. She's been in a lot of stuff. She does a lot of like voice work. She's been in uh, Mamma Mia, The Good Fight. She was one of the main actresses from The Good Fight. Uh, I mean, it's
She was
funny
in the
too because
Birdcage. I remember her in that.
yeah, she's like supporting role. Like she's been in all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, if you needed something with a goofy, almost kind of annoying blonde chick, like she was there. Like that
Well,
was.
Big Bang. People may know her from The Big Bang Theory. She plays the mother of the main character. What's his name? I didn't really watch Big Bang Theory, but I know that she played the mother of Sheldon's mother in that show. So you might recognize her from there. A lot of people like that show, Big Bang Theory. So Adam LaFive plays Gary. That's the other brother,
Yeah.
the Cuck brother. You've probably seen him in. He's another guy who does a lot of small roles in all kinds of movies, like series like The Sinner. She's Out of My League. False Gold. He's does voice work, all kinds of stuff. Richard Bright. He plays Murray, Gus's partner. I love that character in this
Yeah.
movie. It was great. He's done a lot of like mafia style stuff. Like he was in the Godfather 2 and 3, Once Upon a Time in America. He did some Law and Order. He was on Sopranos, so you might recognize him from there. And of
Yeah, he
course,
literally looks like what you'd think of if you think of a getaway driver for a thief. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
exactly. Yeah,
he was perfectly cast.
yeah. Then you got J.K. Simmons, who plays the head of the military school. He has a small role in it. So J.K. Simmons, another guy who does tons of small roles, like in Spider-Man with Flash, Juno, does some voice work, like in Invincible. Like, I mean, it's got a pretty solid cast, and it's a great movie. So, yeah, I'll let you take it for the story, man. I'll let you
Well,
summarize it. That's the cast right there.
basically starts out and you see like this picturesque, beautiful New England town. I believe this takes place in Connecticut or
Hmm.
Vermont, one of those two. Um,
Connecticut, I believe. Yeah.
yeah, and the town Old Baybrook, and it's just looks like Norman Rockwell painting. They got all these kids running around. It's a happy scene, everybody in town, and then it's got this really kind of beautiful choral singing song going, and then the after going through this town square, the camera pans to this window and it goes into this therapist's room, and there's a married couple, and it's Lloyd and Caroline, and they are basically talking about their marital issues, and it's really kind of funny. She tells this story about how she keeps having this dream about he's served him as to her as a salad, but it's the dish is just his head on spinach, I think, with his penis hanging out of his ear. But the waiter tells her not to eat the penis because it's just garnish. And the faces that like the two actors give each other, I hate to give the one actor props, but he really shined in this film. And like the back and
Lloyd.
forth
Yeah.
that they have,
Yeah.
and then like the therapist tries to come in and tell them to calm down. They both yell at him, and like
Yeah. They get
that.
on his case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm not here to judge or take sides. Well, what the hell good are you? Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you
That
get
introduces the two main, like, the couple, the main couple. Yeah.
and then you
Yeah.
get like a meanwhile across town, and like you basically see somebody breaking into a house, and
With a
like
ski mask.
with the ski mask on, and like he goes into the safe. He's putting all this great jewels in his fanny pack because he's straight up rocking a fanny pack. But there's one last ring, and like an idiot, he grabs it and it
But
pulls. It's
before then, the booby trap, right? The
well,
that doesn't add
that's
up
what
to
sets off
much.
the booby trap.
No, no, before the cat piss thing.
Oh, that's right. It
Yeah, he
sprays him
goes
with
in
cat
and it
piss, and he
opens and it's funny because they put a sound effect like a cat
and goes
meowing.
meow.
So
Yeah.
like, just so that it's cat piss, and that's where he takes off his mask, right? And then when he rips his mask off, it reveals Dennis Leary is playing the cat burglar. Yeah,
Plus, it sets up the running joke through the whole film of like, did somebody piss? Like
yeah,
you hear that,
it smells like piss. Yeah, exactly. Mm.
but yeah,
Yeah.
he
Then he
ends up in
pulls
the
it like you said, and it opens a trap door that sends him
with a
into the
slide,
basement.
yeah, like
Yeah,
some kind of cartoon shit, and like he
yeah.
ends up in this basement with this dog. I think it's a
Hmm.
Rottweiler, big old
Hmm.
dog, and like
Hmm.
he throws this pool ball at it, it catches it in its mouth, and it chews it up and spits it out.
Yeah,
And it's just like Jesus. So he gives it this necklace instead, and it chases the necklace, and he almost gets away, but it bites him right on the ass.
yeah, right
And
on the
but
leg.
and he you assume he gets away, but because it switches back to Caroline and Lloyd, and like she goes into this store to oh wait, the cops end up showing up to the house, and
Yeah,
where Murray was hanging out waiting for him, and he ends
yeah.
up leaving, and it's hella funny. There's just like this huge pile of cigarette butts,
Cigarettes. Yeah, you
and
just see the pile of cigarettes on the
and they were
street.
only
Yeah.
there for like 20 minutes, but like yeah, there's this ungodly amount of cigarette butts, and then you basically cut to Caroline goes into the shop by herself because Lloyd wants to sit in the car and listen to the news. So she's in there by herself where Dennis Leary finds her and basically puts a gun to her back and tells her, like, we're going to take your car, let's go. Ends up
We're
finding out
gonna.
that she's married and has got a dude in the car. So, like, his plan just keeps getting worse and worse. But,
Yeah, because Murray takes off on him, so he has to figure something out. So yeah, he takes them hostage to go uh, hide out at their house till he gets a hold of Murray and figures out what the hell's going on. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So he ends up talking them into taking them to his house, to their house, and
Yeah.
like they're Lloyd's really frazzled. They keep fighting about everything. He's trying to be like shut up. He's being all intense and stuff, but like they keep looking at each other and starting these little arguments. He's just like shut
Yeah.
up, and like
Yeah. Then right, I love his. He's like, great. I kidnapped my parents.
straight up.
that's that's great. Yeah. Then they run the stop sign, and
Yeah,
that's great too. He's like, "What the?" You see the panic in his face when because they're arguing, so he misses the stop sign that he's supposed to stop at because they're constantly bickering. Yeah, that whole scene that sets up a few other scenes. That whole car scene leading to the house sets up a few of the other scenes that that take place in the house.
yeah. They drop some exposition about the stuff you'll learn about like because um you Gus gets to the house and the first thing that he hears is that their son Jesse, who is away at military school, and he's also blackmailing his teacher, who is J.K. Simmons. He's
Yeah,
got these pictures of him with two hookers on his lap, just partying. It's, so
yeah,
he gets a fat envelope of hundreds too. That
yeah,
was big
exactly.
money for a '90s kid. Like
Yeah,
that
exactly,
had to
man.
be at least like what, 5 grand in that envelope?
Oof, I don't know. They never say how much, but yeah, you can see later on that he has a fat stack of
Yeah, he
cash.
has like he has a suitcase full of it.
Yeah, yeah,
But um, but basically, like they ends up finding out they have a kid now that's going to be coming home, so he's trying to figure out. He uses their phone and he wants to find out what the sleaziest bar in town is, and like they end up fighting about that. But he ends up calling, and this is one of the greatest scenes ever because he finds the bar's number in the yellow pages, calls it, and he's like, "I'm looking for this little short loser guy." And like the dude's like, "You just described everybody in the bar, pal." And he's like, "Okay, ask if there's a guy named Murray." And the guy's like, "Is there a Murray here?" And like nobody answers, but like
nobody
Murray like
answers.
kind of looks, and then but then like Gus is like, "Well, tell him, ask if there's a waste of fucking life named Murray here." And like
Yeah,
he goes, "Is there a waste of life named Murray here?" And like just the smile
the
that Murray
smile.
gets,
Yeah,
knowing that Gus is okay, like, oh, and like he's like relieved. Like the actor's just so good because he's like
yeah,
Gussie, and like
yeah.
he picks up the phone and he goes, "Gussie, how are you?" And he's like, "Murray, where are you? You've been drinking." He's like. He moves his drink away from him. No, 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 Gus, I haven't been. Like the way he,
Yeah,
like,
makes me nervous. Yeah, he talks about being nervous, and yeah,
but
yeah,
basically, like, they end up finding out that there's a curfew in the town. So Gus tells Murray to go to the docks and steal a boat.
Yeah, because there's roadblocks. Yeah, because they're doing roadblocks. They won't be able to get out of town. So then he's like, go to the docks and hotwire a boat. Then he's like, well, I don't know anything about it. He's like, if you can hotwire a fucking car, I think you can hotwire a goddamn boat. Just do it. And yeah. And he's always, yeah, this is, it isn't quite here yet where like we were talking about before, where I got the vibes from another movie we watched recently.
Yeah.
But you kind of see it. It's starting to develop a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
But he ends up finding out he's going to have to stay in the house with them for longer until probably the curfew at 11 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they end up telling him the big news, and that's that Lloyd's mother, brother, and his brother's family are coming for for dinner as well. So not
Mm-hmm.
just a kid now. There's five other people. And then you get the first flash of Lloyd's family in the car, and it's this mean old lady, this really doofy dude that'll put up with anybody's shit because he just doesn't really have a spine. His
Yeah.
wife, who's just, man, she is a piece of work, but she's hilarious. And these
Yeah.
two kids that are just great, man. His kids are hilarious in this film.
Yeah. They're good. Yeah. The whole scene where they stop at the restaurant because
Yeah,
they know the
because
food won't be edible at the. It always sucks. She always makes horrible meals. So that whole scene where that takes place in the restaurant's pretty good. It really
yeah,
sets up the. It really sets the scene for the characters and you see probably the conflict to come later on in the movie. Yeah.
yeah. Well, just
Yeah.
because how the grandma lords over everybody, makes
Yeah.
Gary the brother do anything she wants, and so
Yeah.
does the wife. And then the kids
The
are just
wife
sitting
too.
there. The kids are just sitting there being like shitty little kids, and the little redheaded dude, the mom smacks him all the time. Don't make me crazy. It's Christmas.
Yeah, it's Christmas. Yeah. It's like yeah. Loud yelling, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Then when they go to leave, we'll be there in 20 minutes. They call. We got held up in traffic. Yeah,
yeah,
the little white lies they all tell each other in that family. Hmm. And that's like after he talks to Murray though. There's that scene where he ties the uh, Caroline and Lloyd. He ties them together and side by side on chairs with bungee cords because they don't have rope. And then he gets sick of them bickering, so when
Oh
he
yeah,
pushes them
when he wants
over,
to,
yeah,
after the cigarettes, yeah, he gets,
yeah, yeah,
because he finds that's right, because Dennis Leary's famous for smoking, so he doesn't have no smoke. So like he asks them, "Hey, do you got cigarettes?" And like Lloyd's like, "I don't smoke," and Caroline just quit. So he's just like, "You just quit, huh?" So where they are,
yeah,
they Caroline. Where?
yeah.
So she tells him, and her and Lloyd get into this huge fight because
About being a liar. You're a liar. You
yeah,
lied.
she
This and
said
that.
she'd quit and she didn't, and she's telling him all the stuff that like I said I'd never finished a cigarette since then, and
And I said I quit smoking inside, and then he's like calling her a liar, and that's when Dennis Leary has enough, and he just pushes
pushing
the
him
two
over the.
chairs, and they fall, and that's where he starts to be like, "Did you lie? Yes." And then
Yeah.
then Lloyd
Lloyd
thinks he's like, lording over her,
giggles.
like, "Yeah, I had reason. Did you see a stop sign? Did you see the stop sign?" And then
Yeah.
like, so you're both fucking liars. Basically, was his point he was trying to make. Yeah, that scene is great, and that's where the interactions where he starts like talking to them, and then the way he talks with Murray. Like we just covered Buffalo '66, and I find Vincent Gallo's character mirrors Gus, like Dennis Leary's character in this movie, so much. The way he talks and the way he talks to people and the way he talks to Murray, it definitely has. I find it mirrors that the Billy Brown from Buffalo '66 so much mirrors Gus from The Ref. Like I don't know if Vincent Gallo was maybe a little bit inspired by Dennis Leary's character from this movie to do Billy Brown, but man, I definitely see parallels between the two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, you get some really good Dennis Leary rants. I don't
yeah,
if you're '90s kids, you remember him. He used to do like sports commercials, and he used to be on MTV all the time doing his rants, and also in Demolition Man. But in this one, like he really goes on some good ones because like you just love to see him torture these two people because I wish I could understand their problems, but I really can't. You know what I mean? They're just kind of these impetuous, like spoiled people, and like he's
Hmm.
trying to explain to them how the rest of the world works, and they're just so stuck in their own problems. But the funny thing is he ends up getting stuck in their problems too, which I thought was really cool. Kind of shows like how you can't help but stop and watch a soap opera, every once in a
Hmm.
while. Like
Yeah, yeah, and
that's
that's when the son gets home before the family, right?
yeah.
So
They
then, so then when the family comes, he has to figure out a scenario that makes sense why he's there, and so basically he manipulates Lloyd and Lloyd and Caroline to play along, where he plays a therapist, and that explains why he's there when the family comes
Dr.
over for
Wong.
supper. Doctor Huang, yeah, because the doctor who plays the therapist, he's actually been in quite a few. He played the therapist on Law and Order. It's the
Yeah.
same actor who's a profiler therapist on Law and Order. I think he's a profiler. I can't remember, but anyway, it's that same actor, and he threatens to be like, "I have your son, and if you don't play along, I'll fucking shoot him." So and that's why they play along with this whole charade of Dennis Leary being their therapist, and that's when the family members show up. He puts on one of Lloyd's suits, where he looks kind of ridiculous in, but and then they have like the meal, right, where they wear the stupid candles and everything, and
Oh
she
yeah.
has her Scandinavian story about I don't remember what.
Saint Lucia
Yeah.
being burnt alive for being a Christian.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
her Christmas story. And the young kid there, the little bratty one you said, the redhead, he's like, I think
I
that's
think it's
pretty cool.
bitchin'. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The other wife's like, is that a Christmas story? And then then you get scenes with the grandmother, like asking how what like this is an unorthodox way of doing therapy, being at our Christmas dinner, and she keeps prying, right? And poking and asking questions. Yeah.
My favorite one is when she first gets there, they introduce Dennis Leary as Dr. Wong, and she goes, "Wong, you're a Wong," and he goes, "Yeah, my mother was Irish," and she's like, "And your father?" And he's wasn't like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's great. There's some great lines, and he's so snippy with everyone all the time too. But it's
yeah.
funny because as it goes, you can see he's playing the role and he's being calm, and then
Yeah, he
you know
really
how it
tries
is.
to work with these people.
Yeah,
Like he tries to play a game and be normal, just try to get through this
yeah,
situation as calmly as possible. But these people do not understand calm. Like,
yeah. No, then he just starts pulling out the. I said, sit the fuck. Then he just starts losing it, right? And that's where it just snowballs and like the antics and it's just then the couple start fighting again, Lloyd and Caroline, and yeah, then the
Caroline gets drunk, starts telling like this really depressing story about their past, and Lloyd kind of tells the truth, or you kind of hear both of their truths of how they feel about like what
mhm,
happened with their youth and like how they ended
mhm,
up in the place that they're in,
mhm,
and it's kind of neat. Like everybody just kind of stops and watches it, except for I don't know, like Connie the wife and the grandma keep bitching about it. But like one of my favorite parts is like when they announced that Caroline and Lloyd are getting no divorce, and the brother Gary's just like,
mhm.
"Why?" Like he's so
Why?
surprised and
Yeah,
shit.
after all the fighting, bickering, the fact that she's cheated on him, and yeah, then
Why?
that's where they air all their laundry when they're opening presents, and those scenes are really good, like you said, like where they really open up and start talking to each other, and those are some pretty good scenes. Yeah, where they're opening
Yeah,
presents, and that's where the whole family starts to turn on the mother, and they start to stand up for themselves and speak their minds, and don't just conform to what the mother wants, right? And those scenes, some of them are pretty good, where like you said, that scene with the brother Y, and yeah, then where
well,
Lloyd loses his shit and beats the Christmas tree. Uh,
and
and
then
then
the two children, Gary and Connie's kids, end up helping uh Gus tie everybody up, the
Yeah.
grandma, and it's really funny when the one boy's duct taping his mom's mouth shut, like he's got like all these layers around. And Dennis Leary's like, "Hey kid, that's enough," and he's like, "Are you sure it's gonna hold?"
Yeah, she's biting. Yeah, later on, he's like, she's chewing through her gag.
Yeah,
That grandma, she's an old, mean old bag, man. Yeah. But then, like, there's one scene that kind of, because the cops go to the scene and they start doing house calls, right? To do uh, going house to house to try to find where the robber is, right? Because they shut the town down with the roadblocks. They're doing house calls,
yeah.
and another scene earlier on was the guy who goes around dressed as Santa through town,
Oh yeah.
bringing fruitcake and stuff, and he gets more and more drunk as the night goes. And one of the scenes cuts to him at someone else's house, and he's plastered, right? And then they kick him out. So that leads up to the scene where he comes after everybody's tied up upstairs and stuff, and then he shows up at the house unannounced. When they come downstairs, he's in the house. Nobody let him in. He just walked in drunk. And that's the scene where he had a gun out that he hides it behind his back, and he's super drunk, and he's like
You
in the
had a
middle of a
gun, did you?
drunken rant. Yeah, then he stops and he's like, "Wait a minute, you had a gun?" And they're like, "No, no." And then he's like, "I'm not afraid." He does
I
a
know
good
you
job
did a
as a
gun.
drunk.
He pulls
Yeah,
a gun out on him. He's like, "You think a gun scares me?"
me? Yeah, he's super drunk. Yeah, I'm
I'm
Santa
Santa
Claus.
Claus. It just
Just
runs at him.
knocks him right the fuck
It's
out.
like, I just beat up Santa Claus.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That scene. Just hit that actor. He was good. Then he takes a piss outside when he gets kicked out of the other house.
Yeah, just the steam.
What's his name? That act. What's his character's name? I can't remember. Anyway, he's like, "Get out of here." We'll just call him Jerry. We're gonna call your wife if you don't get out of here. And yeah, and he takes a piss on in their front yard on the
The Christmas
cedars
tree.
or the Christmas tree. Yeah. Mm.
Basically, like, yeah, and sometime at this point, like, J.K. Simmons ends up coming by the house and telling the parents that the kid's been blackmailing him. And so the boy's gonna try to take his money and wants to leave with Gus. And Gus is like, "What am I, the circus? Hell no, I ain't taking no kid with me." So they basically kind of have like this really kind of cool family moment where Lloyd
Yeah.
actually kind of promises to start being a dad a little bit.
Yeah, because the sun opens up because the J.K. Simmons stops by at the house, right,
Yeah,
to
and
fess up
tells the
that yeah that he's blackmailing me because he has pictures. So then they go up to the room, and the kids pulled up the floorboards and pulling out all the money, and that's where the kid's kind of like, "I'm sick of you guys fighting. I can't handle it anymore." And that's where Lloyd promises to make more of an effort to listen, and yeah, that's where the parents kind of realize how all their bickering and fighting has affected their son in a negative way. Yeah.
and then the cops show up
Yeah.
and basically like Caroline and the kid are trying to figure out how to get Gus out, where Lloyd finally decides that like he's gonna help too, and he's like go through the pass through the woods, and he's like, "What do you think I'm gonna let everybody I love go to jail or something like that or send?"
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah,
like
yeah, that
everybody,
cheesy moment. Yeah,
yeah, where
the cheese
all the
moment.
family smiles and it's gonna be a Merry Christmas for these people, and
Yeah,
then they look down and see the Santa guy, and so like Gus steals the Santa Claus outfit so he can sneak through town with the
yeah.
kid and not get really messed with, and it's pretty funny because they
Where
do
they,
get spotted and the cops just drive by and go home, Jerry, go home.
yeah, go home. Yeah, yeah. And they think it's drunk Santa Jerry. Yeah,
And so
yeah,
Gus gets to the dock, and Murray basically met this ex-con lady who has a boat that they had to kind of fix up a little bit, but like they're gonna take that to Jamaica, and
yeah.
they get away, and
And as
it's
they're leaving, Gus is just bitching at Murray.
yeah, telling him he's gonna get him a cannon for Christmas and shoot him out
Yeah,
of it, and then
yeah,
go find his
yeah,
dead corpse and
yeah.
like use it as firewood
Yeah.
in one
But
of his wonderful.
Dennis Leary was good. He's like that sharp, like short tempered, kind of snap back and like angry, over over expressive, like kind of
Yeah, he
Yeah,
He's a little over the top with it. He gets very expressive. He gets very ranty, but like yeah, he like
yeah.
really just explains like almost in cartoon ways like how he's gonna like do vicious things to you.
To people, but never really intends to. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
just
Yeah, that's where I saw the parallels with like the Billy Brown character, right?
yeah,
He talks all this trash, but he's never gonna follow through with it, right? So, because really, he's not a murderer. He's not a killer. He's a thief. So he has
yeah,
no intention on really hurting anyone. But yeah,
yeah. He just kind of because basically he thought he was just gonna kidnap a girl, a lady, and have her drive him to the
ah,
somewhere. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That was his first plan, but like it just kept getting worse. More and more people just kept getting involved.
mm,
Yeah, straight up.
yeah. That
I think
scene,
it's
yeah, where is the sheriff and who's the other guy? Is he an FBI agent or a state police or something? Or he's like, you dropped the ball, like Randy's saying here. Two times, Bob.
oh, that's right.
Yeah, that seems good too.
Basic,
Yeah,
yeah. The rich guy that got robbed at the beginning, he's giving the sheriff crap because like they can't find the guy. So like the sheriff tells him like, yeah, we're working on it, but I don't really got very good cops because you people don't really care
yeah,
about police. Whenever you really have a problem, you call out for governors and senators to help you.
yeah,
So
yeah.
do
Or
that. Do
they called in the because didn't they call in the FBI or the state police or
the
something
state
to take
police, yeah.
over? Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah,
he basically pisses off like this rich guy who gets him fired, and like when the dude tells him that he's fired, he just like
yeah,
three. I banged your wife last year when you were out of town. Three
yeah.
times, Bob. She said you never went. Three times,
Three
Bob.
times. Yeah, there's a bunch of little scenes like that. Great little scenes. Yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
dude, like if you like movies with really good, sharp dialogue, really good back and
Mhm.
forth constantly, this
Mhm.
film is just so full of it. Like it's impossible to probably remember all the good quotes from it. It's just
Yeah,
so full of them.
yeah. It's good. It's definitely a good. Yeah,
And
I enjoyed
it,
it. It'd been a long time. I hadn't seen it in quite a while, so it was fun to watch it again.
yeah, it was a nice. I haven't watched it in probably 4 or 5 years, and yeah, it was a nice. Kind of took me back to when I first watched it. It was
Yeah,
reminded me of.
it holds up too. Like the comedy holds up over the years. Like it doesn't seem dated or it's really well written, really well directed. The acting was good. It stands the test of time. Like you could watch this and it doesn't. Obviously, it might feel dated because no one has cell phones and shit like that. But I mean, the dialogue's great. It doesn't feel dated. The story itself, like the basic story around it, is story that still is relevant
Yeah,
today. Like couples having issues and how the holidays uh, adds pressure and just you know
well,
magnifies those issues and
it
stresses that couples have. And yeah,
it balances it perfectly though, like the comedy and like the drama. I mean, like there are
hmm
seriously scenes where you'll feel uncomfortable watching it because like
hmm
you're learning so much about these people and like I think it was pretty well done, even though like I can't really like put my mindset in like the characters of Lloyd and Caroline, like they're so like above where my station in life. But
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it was a neat insight into it, at least. You know what I mean? I don't know how true it is, but at least it was
yeah,
very entertaining. And I don't know, they actually made you feel for him. Like I said,
yeah.
when the movie first
Well,
started,
because
you enjoyed watching Dennis Leary torture them, but towards the end, like you start feeling for them, like Dennis Leary's character does. Like by the end of
but
the film, like these guys are they're actually friends. You know, like it's weird.
well,
Like
but also uh, Lloyd and Caroline weren't always like these suburb rich people. Like they had a small apartment in New York, and the pressures of wanting to have like
a
that.
restaurant, they wanted to be affluent, like people
Yeah,
in the
like
city.
exactly. So like this is where like it's revealed like the pressures of society to be wealthier, uh, you know, have a higher position status in life, and how those pressures kind of force you to do things or into situations that maybe you'll regret later on or that you don't really want to be in, just to try to have something that you think you want because society tells you this is what you need to be or what you need to aspire to. So there's even that aspect in the movie that's that they touch on. So it touches on a bunch of little things that are you know relevant, that'll probably be relevant till the day fucking planet explodes. So
Yeah. And like we said before, it's got a great cast. I mean, like the I haven't seen her in very many things, but the lady in this, Judy Davis, she is insane. She is utterly hilarious too. Like she goes a little over the top sometimes, but when she does, it's really funny. Like she's probably one of the funniest female comedians I've seen. I don't know why she didn't get more work. I think I've only seen her in a couple other movies.
she was in Celebrity, she was in Barton and Fink, and she was in a series just recently
Oh, was she?
called Ratcheted, where it takes place in like a hospital
Hmm.
where the nurses are. Was that a Netflix show? It had the girl from I can't remember who the girls. It's one of the main actresses in that is from. Uh, she's always on American Horror Story. Uh, I can't remember her name, but she was on that recently. It's Ratcheted, I think it's called.
Ratcheted, and it's like, are they evil nurses? Is that like a play
Yeah,
on like
like
Nurse Ratchet from Cuckoo's
yeah, I
Nest,
think so.
basically?
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, yeah, like they're not very. Mhm. It's
Okay.
kind of dark. It's a dark kind of thriller, maybe horror type vibe to it. Yeah. Mm. There's only been
Okay.
one season. I don't know if it got picked up for a second or what's going on there, but yeah, that came out in the middle of the pandemic. I think the first season. Mm. So she's in that.
Cool. I'll have to check that out. But yeah, and then I was saying before, the lady that plays the mom is incredible. Like,
Yeah, your dad specified because I saw Mary Poppins when I looked her up, but she was in the movie. But your dad says she plays Miss Winfred Banks. Anyway, so she's in the Mary Poppins movie. I guess she doesn't play a Mary Poppins.
okay,
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
okay. So she was kind of big before when I was a kid. Then before I kind of really got into movies, that makes sense. Yeah, I thought she was really really good, really funny in
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's definitely a fun holiday watch.
Yeah, and
Yeah, man.
it's been one that I've watched several times over the years. Like I think I've probably seen it more times than It's a Wonderful Life, and like It's a Wonderful Life is actually my favorite Christmas movie. So that'll tell you something.
It's a Wonderful Life. Which one is that one?
With Jimmy Stewart, they actually watch it in the ref. That's the one that they're watching when they actually record over the tape. I don't want
Oh,
any
okay.
plastics, and I
Yeah.
don't want any ground floors.
Is that the one where the girl says every time a bell rings, an
Yeah,
angel
an
gets
angel
the
gets
wings?
his
Okay.
wings. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one where
Okay.
he's George Bailey and like he's
Okay.
like a banker and
What's
stuff. And
what's the other one called with the lamp, the leg lamp and stuff?
oh, that's
A, Chri-
Christmas Story.
a Christmas Story. Okay. Yeah, that one's called Christmas Story. There's another
Yeah,
classic one too. Yeah. Mm.
Fragile. It must be Italian.
Well, I guess that wraps it up, eh?
Yeah,
That was our holiday special, our first one. Next week we're gonna do another one. So, man, check out those books. Go check out the ref. It's a fun holiday themed movie.
yeah,
Not your typical holiday movie. Not your it's a little more of an unorthodox style holiday movie, but a holiday movie
yeah.
nonetheless.
And it's not brought up as often as like Die Hard or Lethal Weapon or one of those.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
one of the other more unorthodox Christmas movies.
Mm, mm.
But yeah, thanks for taking this trip with us. And yeah, we will be back next week. That'll be our last show until the new year. And
So
thank
January 6th.
so take it
Yeah.
easy, y'all.